We are rolling. Morgan Lerette, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
This is, I'm really excited. I mean, I don't even know where to start. So Morgan, former Army Air Force security forces?
So I did Air Force Security Forces right out of high school.
Okay.
And then did the Blackwater gig.
Yep.
And then after that, I was an Army intelligence officer.
Okay.
So.
All right, good to go. And that's what we're here to talk about. Guns, girls, and greed. I was a Blackwater Mercenary in Iraq, Morgan Lerette. I'm infantry and I can read. Go check out the book. It's awesome. It's hilarious. I made it all the way to, I had to do audiobook, so I made it to the last 2 hours, chapter 21. So I'm excited I made it that far. Thanks for coming on, bro. No, this is awesome. We've been talking. We did 9-line podcast. And dude, the book's amazing. I was laughing my ass off. It brought back a lot of memories, and it's like on the same wavelength. In case anybody knows, I was also, they weren't Blackwater at the time. They're called IDS and Z Services, and I did WIPS Mobile Protection, but 2012 to 2013. So we looked up to guys like Morgan, you know, that were in the 04 to 06 run or 05 run.
Yeah, 04 to like December 31st of 05.
Yeah. Which was like the legendary run.
It was
of Blackwater.
It was like the window.
Yeah.
It was like flying a plane and trying to put it together at the same time. Like we just made everything up and you just went for it. It's like, hey, get that guy from point A to point B, and you're like, all right, we got this.
Yeah. We were talking on the phone and you were telling me, how long was your training?
Oh, it was 2 weeks. Yeah, it was like straight up. So, well, I got to Moyoc in June 2004, and it was literally like a 2-week train up. Mm-hmm. And the hardest part of the train up was to get through your security clearance.
Yeah.
Like it's shoot, move, communicate, like all that other stuff. And then a driving course for a day and a half, and they were like, "All right, if you get your clearance, you're going to Iraq." So literally, like the day we're graduating, they were like, "Hey, Morgan Lerette," and I was like, "Oh," they're like, "You ready to go to Iraq?" And I was like, "Can I go move my stuff out of my apartment back home real quick?" Yeah. And they're like, "Oh," like it was so terrible for them.
Yeah.
So I mean, dude, it was literally people would show up. Mm-hmm. So I was in the 4th class that ever went through, but people would literally show up and never go back home. You were like straight on a flight to Iraq.
Mm-hmm. Which is crazy because, again, I can contrast it with my time, which was like, oh, you might deploy in the next 4 months. You know, like it got to the point where like, when are we deploying? Like they're like, well, your clearance will come in, and then we'll get you in a slot, and then we'll, you know, and again, we always heard about your guys' stories like, oh, dude, you'd show up, you know, and the guys were like, I'm out of money. You know? And then like some of their buddy would call them from Blackwater, be like, you want to make money? And they're like, yeah. And they would go train up, and they were gone out the door and like never seen again for 6-7 months. But,
oh, dude, I mean, it was like word of mouth. That's I'm sure that maybe they had a website where you could go and you could apply, but it was literally like once you had somebody get in, so my buddy was in the class number 2. They walked into the class and was like, "Hey, you guys have anybody else that wants to do this?" Mm-hmm. And they were literally just taking names down, names and phone numbers. And that's how I got, dude. I got a call at like, I think it was 5 a.m. in Arizona, and it was 3 hours later on the West Coast or the East Coast. And there's like, "Hey, my name's Brian. I'm with Blackwater Security Services. Your buddy Mike said you're a good guy. You want to come work for Blackwater?" And the first thing I said was like, "I'm not cool guy. Like, I'm not tier 1. I didn't do like, I did Air Force Security Forces." And he's like, "Whatever. Come on out, man. We'll pay you $250 a day for training. And then when you get over to Iraq, it's $550 a day. You want to do it?" And I was like, $550 a day? Yeah, sign me up. Let's just do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's the thing too is like, you know, like I said, hearing all that, and then of those old days, that's why I like, you know, I love hearing your stories. Like, oh my God. And then I know guys, I was telling you us on the way in, I was like, you sent me a photo, and that was my team leader in 2012. That was there. I think it was 05 or whatever, or 04 that you sent that photo. I was like, that's Adam Federley. That's him right there. Like, and you're like, who's that? I was like, it was another team or whatever, but I was like, that's him, which is wild, like to think of that. Cause that was I mean, that's like 8 years, you know? And no one knew the wars were going to go on for that long. Plus obviously controversy with Blackwater and changing their name and all that other stuff. But no, let's get into it. Let's well, first I'll start with your hero origin story, your mercenary origin story on how you end up getting to Blackwater. So where are you from? Where'd you grow up? You know, what led you to Air Force? You know, because I saw how old you were when I bought your plane tickets. So you're a few years older than me. So what got you to the Air Force? You know, like what led you down that path?
Yeah, so I grew up in a town called Cottonwood, Arizona, and if you've never heard of it, there's a reason for it. Like, dude, it's like it's not even a truck stop on like a highway. It's literally like there used to be an old mining town, and Cottonwood was kind of what sprouted up from that. So there was really two ways of getting out of Cottonwood. One is like you join the military. Two, you got to go to jail. I mean, those were it. But if you stayed in Cottonwood, you'd end up working construction. And that's what my whole family did. They all worked construction, and I did it over every summer. And I was like, dude, this sucks. So when I ended up graduating from high school, my guidance counselor was like, you know what you'd be really good at? The military, because your grades suck. And you can't do anything else. You can't go to college. So they just kept giving my like name and phone number to these recruiters. So the first guy shows up. He's an Army guy. He's all fat, disgusting. And he puts me in front of a computer, and you do like the pre-ASVAB. And I got like a 98 out of 99. And the first thing I could think of was like, why the hell would you stop the ASVAB at 99 instead of 100? Like that still doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But he comes in and just starts pressing hard. Oh, you ready to join the military? You ready to go Army? Who? And I was like, no, not really, man. So then I talked to the Marine Corps recruiter, and he's all like jacked and he's built, and he's like, we blow shit up and kill people. And I was like, okay, well, that sounds cooler than the Army. Like that sounds like a good gig. And then I go talk to my grandfather, who's a World War II veteran, and he's like, if you're going to join the military, go in the Air Force. They have the best food. That was it.
Yeah.
So I went and I joined the Air Force.
Best advice ever given.
Well, and I thought I wanted to be a cop, so I was like Air Force, Security Forces, which is their MPs. And then, dude, I just did the National Guard because I didn't know what the hell I was going to do with my life. And then September 11th happened, and I had a pager because I was awesome, right? Like this, September 11th, 2001, my pager goes off, and I look, and it's like my Air National Guard base, and it's like 911, which meant call us real fast. So I call down there, and they're like, we're getting activated. So they put us on 2-week orders, and then those 2-week orders turned into 1-year orders, and then those 1-year orders turned into 2-year orders, and there's nothing worse than security forces. Like, I know there's a lot of people that are like, well, hell no, dude, it sucks. Like 90% of the time you're sitting there staring at a plane. Oh, please don't steal my plane. Please don't steal this plane. So when they said, hey, we're going to start deploying, I was like, dude, sign me up. So
they put you on order? Like you were active duty?
Yeah.
Really? For those first 2 years, they're just like...
Yeah, just straight.
So you were like, I'm in college though. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm at the Coconino Community College at the strip mall. I need to get back there. No, dude, they didn't care.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So I didn't realize they did that in the Air Force, or like because you're reserves. You're not even, I don't want to say active, but yeah, they're like, no, you're you're gonna be active.
You're
duty
active
for like
now.
6 months.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, no, dude, and it was happening all the time. Even like, we were pushing people into Afghanistan, but then we were trying to get the war built up for Iraq, and they were grabbing National Guard units all over the place. So a lot of the people that went in on the first ground offensive, they were all National Guard dudes. So I did a pump to Oman, which was, dude, it was hell. We had like our own beach, and we had a Burger King and a nice gym. Like it was literally where they would fly people in from Afghanistan for R&R. That was our little Air Force base. Yeah. They did have the AC-130s though, which were absolutely awesome.
When was that? When would you go to Oman?
This was 2002.
Okay.
So, and it's a little island off of Monsieur Air Base.
Yeah. And my buddies went there for training back in 2018. They were like, dude, Oman's the shit.
Oh, dude, it's spectacular.
Yeah. And another previous guest. It's funny. Now I'm like linking all these because you guys are all the same era. I'm a few years after you, but they were Rangers coming from, I think, Washington. And he's like, yeah, we stopped in Oman and we thought it was Afghanistan. And the same as like, he's like an Air Force guy came up to us and was like, hey, what's going on? You guys need anything? Yeah. And he's like, where are we? And they're like, you're in Oman. And they're like, oh shit, okay. But it's funny you were there because it's like, I always think of like if people run into each other from different branches,
So they would send us into like Afghanistan and Pakistan on like
really?
C-130s. But like, all we were doing was going to an airport and protecting the plane, right? But then you grab like the Rangers coming in from Afghanistan, and we would just grab like Playboys and stuff and hand them out because these guys are coming back from like actual legitimate combat. And then when you're like, hey, where's my Playboy? They're like, oh, here you go. And every page is ripped out. Like, you just get the cover back. Yeah, these guys have like all the nudes in their in their pockets.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, the AC-130s, like they're hitting the Venezuelan boats right now. That's what's hitting those things. Those things are crazy, man.
Yeah.
They're just absolutely spectacular. So
I've always wished to be in the vicinity of one of those, and I've never got to, but I've just heard stories from them that they're just awesome.
I got a picture of me humping one of the howitzer barrel.
Yeah.
I got because I mean nobody gave a crap.
Yeah.
So and we're protecting it. So I'd be like, dude, take my camera. I'm gonna go over here and act like I'm smoking a bowl out of the Gatling gun. Yeah. So dude, the first pump was easy day. Came back, had a hernia surgery, and then they sent another team to Jordan. It's Prince Hassan Air Base in Jordan, and it was right on the Iraqi border. It's where we had all the drones. So we were sending the drones in. We had special forces, the Army Rangers. You walk off the plane, dude, and they like give you your smallpox shot, which nobody had ever had at that point. Like it was just like the grossest thing. So you get your smallpox shot. They put a Band-Aid on it, and then when you go into the shower tent, well, it's like a little like Connex box. Go in there, and they had like these 5-gallon buckets, those water buckets, and they were like, "That's where you put your Band-Aids." And dude, it smelled so bad. Like everybody's smallpox was just was like wrecked.
Yeah.
So we were putting people into Iraq looking for scuds and stuff before the ground offensive, and then they were like, "Well, you can't stay here in Jordan anymore. You got to go to Kuwait," because Kuwait's like, "Come on in, guys."
Yeah.
So in Air Force style, dude, they put us up at a 5-star hotel.
Love it. God, I love it. I'm not even mad at you. Like, you're like, we're handing Playboys to Rangers. I was like, I love the Air Force. I've never had one bad interaction with the Air Force. We were with Air Force at Black Horse in Afghanistan. The best people. They're just like, hey, do you need anything? Would you like something? It's like, how are you? They're like, oh, Air Force is whatever. And I'm like, dude, the Air Force is the best.
Dude, it's the closest thing to corporate America. It's
amazing.
In the military by far.
Yeah.
Because planes are always flying.
They're amazing. And then every time someone's like, yeah, I started a business. Yeah, I was a former vet, and it's like super big and successful. It's always Air Force. And like, when did you start it? I was in the Air Force when I started this amazing company, and it just started blowing up, and the command gave me time off to run my business. And I'm like, are you high? Are you serious? I got family coming in, and they won't give me a Friday off in the Marine Corps. Because I have to be there till 5 p.m. for formation. Like, God forbid I see my family that's on the island. I love the Air Force. I think it's great.
Yeah, so we stayed at a 5-star hotel. They gave us, I think it was like $150 a day in per diem, which meant like we would just rat fuck all the MREs, which was a huge mistake. Like we should have just been eating at the hotel, but we grabbed these MREs so we could, save our 150. And we go in on the ground offensive. I don't know. It's like right after the Marines take the air base in Fallujah. So if you've seen Generation Kill, like they go in and the guy's like, "We just took over an airstrip. That's ninja shit." Like he says something like that. That was Tallil Air Base.
Okay.
And then as soon as they got in, they sent us in to start the air base. And it was the first aerial supply route. So we were bringing in freaking everything. And just trying to chase the ground offensive going north because they were going so fast. So when we got there, it was like, I think it was right after Jessica Lynch got captured. So it was right in that time frame. The Jessica Lynch rescue went out of there. They had like the SEALs come in. Like they dropped like a C-130, took the little birds out of it, put the helicopter like the shit on top, and they were like, okay, we're out of here. And I was like, oh, something cool's happening. like there's no internet, there's no TV, there's no nothing.
I'm protecting your plane. Don't worry about it. You guys have a good time.
I got you guys.
I got you guys.
Yeah. And they would just bring in like POWs.
Yeah.
And they'd drop them off and be like, hey, here's some POWs. And we'd be like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with the POW? Or we had the freedom fighters come in. Dude, it's hard to explain what a mess it was, like the ground offensive, because we had the freedom fighters come in. They trained these Iraqis in Jordan, and then we brought them in on a C-17. They all like take off, like they all get off the plane. Half of them are throwing up. They've never been on a plane before. There's some that are just smiling and taking pictures. They took them up to Nasiriyah, and they were like, all right, go fight for your freedom. And these guys were like, no thanks, and they took off. Or we had somebody just drop off like 3 pallets of M16s, and we're like, well, who's supposed to pick these up? And they're like, we don't know, we got to get out of here. So like I just sat on 3 pallets of M16s, and the commander, the Air Force guy, was like, yeah, you're gonna sit right there, and when somebody says, hey, I need those machine guns, like call me, because like you can't just leave all these munitions. But that was where, if you grab that dinar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's where I got this sweet, sweet Iraqi dinar.
Yeah.
So, dude, mop gear, haven't showered in haven't showered in way too long. We didn't know when we were going to shower, so you had to like take your socks and your shirts and undershirt off, and you put it on like a little 550 wire that you put up in the tent. And then the next morning you pull your sock off and it would just like hold its. And I was like, oh, like I was just putting on newspaper. It's disgusting. So I was walking around bored and I started kicking around these clothes and I kicked over this backpack and I was like, oh, it's an ID, dude. It's an ID. Like it's just going to blow up.
Yeah.
So then of course I got to peek in. I'm looking for wires. There's no wires and there's just all that money. So I still have a ton of it sitting around in my house. So like awesome. To try to give it out because dude, look at that mustache, man. Like, how are you not motivated by that thing?
Let's go with my camera one. There you go. I was adjusting the light. Sorry, I was like, you got to get a good look at this. It's awesome, dude. I appreciate this. Is so cool. I'm definitely framing this, and it's crisp. You know, because I got some bullshit one we got in 06, you know, dinar, but it doesn't have Saddam. Obviously, it doesn't have Saddam on it. You know, it's worth nothing. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So then Iraq. Yeah. And you were sitting on weapons. Anything, I mean, like, what happened after that? Or how long were you guys actually, like, on ground? Or, you know?
35 days.
Yeah.
So what we were supposed to do is we start that air base, and then the ground offensive goes to Baghdad. In between, we were supposed to go back to Germany, reconstitute, and then we were going to start Saddam International Airport. We're going to restart that. Dude, the ground offensive went so fast that they just grabbed a bunch of people and said, you got to go start this airport. So when we were done, we were just done. It was like 30 days in Iraq, came home and was like, all right, what do you do now? And it's like, I guess I'll go back to that community college I started 2 years ago and finish up my Sociology 102 class.
What were you doing? I mean, like, what was life like even before you went to Oman and then, you know, like before this deployment? Because you joined the reserves to go to school. Yeah. I mean, and clearly you were still at home. You're reserves. They just put you on active duty orders. Were you just like, all right, I mean, you're making good money or somewhat, you know. What was that life then? You know, were you kind of like, oh man, when am I going to get my education? Am I going to do something else? You know, because it's kind of like you're just on. You didn't join to do active duty, and now you are on active duty. You know what I mean? Like
it was a waiting game.
Yeah.
And it's hard to express what like pre 9/11 military was like. Yeah. Right. Like pre 9/11, it was like you join the military, you do your 4 years, you do your 6 years, and then at the end of it, it's like they'll tell you thanks for coming, or they'll retain you if you want to be retained. But it was not like a career focused military like we had after 9/11. So when I joined up, it was like I'm going to do 6 years. I'm going to do it in the reserves. I'll get my college education. Maybe I'll become a cop at some point, you know, and then I'll just go on with my life. And then once 9/11 hit, it just turned into this crazy, like career-focused military that it's such a contrast. I mean, it literally from like Vietnam till 9/11, it was like we're trying to get bodies so that we have a standing military. And then after 9/11, it was like, we're going to retain you guys for the next 20, 30 years. Like, it was just completely different.
Yeah. That's wild. Yeah, and again, I joined in 05. So, and I know those just, I was like talking with guys that joined pre 9/11 because it's just a different world. They're like, it was nuts, you know? Or even guys that were like in high speed units, like in the Rangers. It's like, what were you training for? They're still training a lot, but it's like, what were you training for? You know, or like the Marines, they're like, oh, it was terrible. You know, like the Marine infantry was the worst. They're like, it was terrible. We just like get into ground fights and it was stupid. And then they left, you know, they got out. Or they did like one MEU and they're like, yeah, F this, like we're out. Like it sucks, you know? So it's always kind of cool to hear what like everyone's perspective is. You know?
I mean, it's almost kind of like Blackwater when Blackwater started and I got in, like, there was no focus on, hey, I'm going to do this as a career. It was literally like, this is what you do to get out of your small town, to get some training, to get some college money, and then you move on with your life. Yeah. You go and you have kids and you have a wife and, you know, you become a roofer, whatever the heck it's going to be, right?
Yeah. So then you get back from that. How long? So you're there for 35 days. By the way, did you get like a campaign medal for that then too? 35 days?
Dude, so my orders never even said Iraq.
They just like threw you in. Threw you out. Yeah.
So they didn't even say the base that I went to in Jordan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I came home with like pictures of me with like Saddam and you know, all the murals and stuff. But yeah, dude, there was no like, hey, here's your campaign medal. Here's your like. I did get okay, my claim to fame, dude. I did get a combat V on my Air Force Achievement Medal.
Yeah.
Combat V, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it was on, man. So,
awesome.
Which is kind of the running joke. Like the Air Force, if you go overseas, they're like, here's a combat V for you.
Really?
Yeah. So when I came home and when I joined the Army, they're like, "Do you have a combat V?" And I was like, "It's not the same.
Not what you think.
It's not the same. It just means I was there early and they didn't know what to do yet."
Yeah. No, and like I said, funny how things translate, because when I joined the Guard, a lot of my stuff translated to the Guard. And then so they're like, what is this? What is that? And I ended up getting like an EIB, which is like super coveted in the Army infantry. They're like, you have an EIB? I'm like, I guess so. And it was like official too. It was in there. I was like, I don't know how it whatever translated into that. I don't know what, but it was pretty wild. But yeah, so you get back from Iraq, you're clearly a war hero.
Well, yeah, I mean,
parades in Arizona, you saved the day. What was life like when you got back up to that call?
Well, essentially, like I was just floating around. I was going to college. I did another semester at college, and then I jumped on a pump down to Curacao, which is where like the Venezuela drug boats. What they're usually doing is they're moving to like Curacao, which is an island just south of Aruba. So we have P3 sub hunters there. They're Navy ones, and there's an Air Force base. So I did that for like 2 months. Learned how to scuba dive. Like it was just there's 1,000 iguanas there, and they were like, don't go to the north part of the island. That's where all the drugs are. And dude, the big thing after 9/11 is we moved all of our military stuff over to the Middle East. So the drug runners knew it. So they were moving drugs up as like just incrementally up, knowing that they wanted to get them to the US. So I protected the planes that went and found drug runners, theoretically, but we probably let them all in. And then I got home, and one of my buddies in the Air National Guard was a former recon Marine, 5th Force Recon. In the book, he's Tony. And he's like, dude, I mean, this had to be in like March, April of 2004. And the Blackwater guys just got hanged off the bridge. And I was looking at that like, holy shit, man, like that is crazy. And my buddy was like looking at that and being like, I want that job. How do I get that job? So he was like, I'm going to go join Blackwater. He ended up getting in the second class. And then he's like, hey, Morgan, I'm going to put in a good word for you. Dude, I never thought I'd see the guy again. Don't worry, I got you, bro. And then I got a call, and they were like, you want to come work for Blackwater? I was like, not really, dude. Like, and then they start with like $500 a day, 10% bonus at the end of your contract. You do 6 months. And I was like, hell yeah. Like, dude, it's like a tryout, right? If I make it through the tryout, great. If I don't, whatever, man. I'm just back to where I was. So like it was literally just this whirlwind of people calling and being like, all right, let's go do this thing. And I was on ground like late July, early August 2004.
Yeah.
And I was just like, now what do I do?
Yeah. Dude, and so getting to, what was the training like? Because we talked about this. Mine was 45 days. Yours was 2 weeks.
No, dude. So you come in, like we come in, and I think the first day was the PT test, like running, push-ups, sit-ups, dummy drag, pull-ups. That was it. And I was like, all right, well, that's not that big of a deal. And then right after that, you go to the range. So you do almost all your weapons qual in the first 2 to 3 days. And then they were like, okay, well, now we're going to teach you guys how to do CQB. So we did 2 days of CQB. And then you have a weekend. You can't be working on the weekends, dude. So you got your weekend. And then come back. They put us through the driving course. They didn't have the full course set up yet. So we had like half the track. Went through the driving course. They taught us how to like walk a diamond, around principles. And after that, I think we had like 2 days left. They were like, all right, go get your shots. And dude, I had already had all my shots, so I didn't really have to deal with it. But like most of the people that joined up with me had not been in the GWAT era, right? They'd all gotten out before 9/11. So everybody got their shots, their smallpox, their anthrax, you name it. And then we went to see a dentist, and the dentist's like, hey, Morgan, you got some cavities. You should probably get those fixed. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I think I'm just going to go make money. And then they just gave us the keys to these vans and said, you're going to go somewhere in Virginia and you're going to walk through this thing and they're going to clear you for the State Department and you're ready to go. So literally like the day that I graduated, they said, hey, we got seven security clearances back. You guys U-7 ready to go? And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, I still have like everything back at my house. Let me go move my stuff. So I think I went home for 5 days, moved all my crap out of my crappy apartment in Phoenix where there was literally like a murder 3 weeks prior. I mean, it was a nice neighborhood. So, and then they flew me to Amman, Jordan, got picked up by some random people. And then they took us to a really nice hotel. What was the name of that hotel, man? It'll come to me, but they took us to a really nice hotel. And I get there and I was like, okay, I'm going to go get some sleep. I'm fucking exhausted. And they're like, oh, we got a bird that's going out in like an hour. So just don't even unpack your bags. Like, let's just go. And I was like, can I shower? And they're like, no, not really. So they took us back to the airport and put us on that Casa bird. I don't know if they were still using it, but it was like an old Casa airplane. And they were like, let's go into Baghdad.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I guess I make $250 sitting at a hotel, but I make $550 if I get over there. So let's get on ground. Let's do it, man.
Dude, that's awesome.
I mean, it was such a whirlwind. It was like, it almost like going into a worm tunnel, like Marvel style. You go into a worm tunnel. Next thing you know, I'm sitting there at Saddam Hussein's palace, and I'm like, all right, this is different.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Well, it's weird. I remember doing it myself, but you went so fast. But I remember my first contract too was a little bit like that, but it wasn't Blackwater. It was with a different company, and it was field of metal detectors. But my buddy kind of did the same thing. He was like, at that time it was 2010. He was 2009 to 2010, and he was like, hey, I was putting my resume in for a bunch of stuff, and waiting on contracts for. It was only like a month or two, and then he calls me. He's like, hey man, can you go like a month? At the time it was a month. I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, we'll fly you out to DC, do your interview, and then he goes, well, I can't formally hire you without seeing you. And I was like, okay. So I flew out to DC, shook hands, and they're like, cool. And then I kind of like you, I came back and I was like, I need to pack up my shit. So I packed up. I literally just moved into my like same thing. It was Dinkytown and the U of M campus, so it was like a college room with my buddies who were still in college. And I was like, cool. Well, now I gotta go. So I had lived there for like 3 weeks, and then I boot scooted out, and like same thing, threw it all into a storage unit, and then took off for Afghanistan. It was weird, but I can't imagine, like, especially with you, where it's like, yeah, man, you're going from just zero to you're standing at Saddam's palace.
Well, dude,
it's weird. It's crazy.
I'm Air Force Security Forces, right?
Yeah.
So like the Blackwater guys that are coming in, most of the Blackwater guys coming in were kind of like me, right? There was a lot of MPs, there was a lot of like infantry guys that were coming in because they just needed bodies. They just absolutely needed them. So, but I'm hanging out with this guy that was in Delta and the SEALs and the Rangers and all this other stuff, and I'm like, I'm Air Force Security Forces. Like, well, I was in Iraq. Yeah, it was I mean, I really just kept my mouth shut and was like, I could probably learn from all these guys. There's no reason for me to be mouthy. So, and then all of a sudden, it's like now you're just one of them. Yeah, and it's like anywhere else, man. It's like this clique, right? You have your guys that are like pretty cool dudes, and then you have your guys that are old, and then you have the guys where you're like, oh my god, I don't trust that dude at all.
Yes.
So I kind of got hooked into the cool crowd as the quiet guy in the cool crowd, but it was just like, it was adventure time, man.
That's crazy. So like then the guys that were coming in, like you said, because you're like a rare one, and say, I mean, if you're class number 4, you know what I mean, out of all of the Blackwater, and this was, June of 04 or April or whatever. I mean, that's a year after the invasion. So it's like that weird thing of like, who was prior to that? Because I remember reading some books that like had the Blackwater guys in Afghanistan. Like, was there any guys that did you guys ever run into that were like, oh, these guys are from the 2001 era,
the early,
like even like you said, you're class number 4. Like, what was pre-class? Because I think if you read Eric Prince's book, there's like his buddies that went in. Essentially, it was like his buddies, like the first contract ever doled out was like 20 dudes or something like that, or whatever the hell it was.
So Blackwater got the contract under DOD to protect Paul Bremer.
Okay. And
Paul Bremer ran Iraq, right? So that's really where Blackwater cemented themselves as being like in the protective security stuff. And then once Paul Bremer was getting ready to hand Iraq over, that I'm gonna pontificate about the stupidity of this war for a second. What happened is George W. Bush said, I don't want to be don't want to be occupiers. We can't be occupiers in the Middle East. We can't do it. So when Paul Bremer handed over the country of Iraq to their interim government, it then became a Department of State mission, right? So now it's a diplomatic mission. It's no longer a DoD mission, even though there's still bullets flying. There's all these people but theoretically, Department of State runs Iraq at that point. Department of State, we literally had to go and teach these people how to run a country. So everybody talks about when Paul Bremer got rid of the Ba'ath Party and the military and all that stuff. Well, the other thing they got rid of that nobody talks about is the entire government. Anybody that had run anything was a Ba'ath Party member. So once they got rid of them, we had to go over there and start teaching them how to actually run a government, from like picking up garbage to landing planes to, getting oil out of the ground and selling it on the international market. And to do that, you had to have people that would go out to these places and be able to like explain to them how to use an Excel PowerPoint. Like literally, like, oh, hey, here's an Excel sheet. This is Monday. This is Tuesday. Garbage gets picked up here in this neighborhood. So that's really like, that's where it's really novel is we were protecting diplomats in an active combat zone. It had never happened before. And the State Department, they have diplomatic security services, but none of them were like combat trained.
No. And by the time my era came around, the Blackwater guys were starting, I think, to integrate, they had their previous Blackwater, and then they started going into the DOS protection, exactly, the diplomatic protection. So the guys that we were running into in 2012 were former Blackwater dudes. Like, God, what do they call them? They were on the principal. Why am I'm blanking on the name of them?
Well, I know it was under diplomatic security services.
But it's the principal. But it's just whoever was with the principal. I can't remember the name.
The babysitter.
Essentially they're the babysitter. But we had like a name for them. I wish I could remember. I'm gonna remember it later. But yeah, those guys would then take over as the agents now, essentially. Because it used to be a Blackwater job. I think it wasn't. Yeah, like all the way down to basically being with the diplomat.
Yeah, and it was miserable.
Yeah.
You had to be the guy. I only had to do it like 3 or 4 times, but you had to be with the guy in the room while everybody's arguing back and forth in full body armor and like ready to rock and roll. And you're listening, you have like the little pigtails, so you're listening in, and everybody's joking around on the radio and screwing off. And I was like sitting there staring at this principal, like, dude, just let me out of here, man. Like this is the worst. So what you ended up doing is the guy that like, either the brand new guy or the guy that you didn't like on the team, you're like, you're the babysitter, bro. Like, you're going to sit with him. You're going to sit in all those meetings. You have to be like the liaison in between us and him because, dude, it was by far the worst job.
Yeah, no, I luckily, thank God, I never had to do it. Like the AMBO details.
Yeah.
Again, like by the time I got there, 6 years, this is 7 years after you. Like, this is, which is crazy to say. Oh, 7 years later on the same type of contracts, it was, I was there to make money. You know what I mean? Like it was like, because there's some guys like, I want to be a team leader. And I'm like, you serious? Like they don't pay you anymore. Or they get the extra whatever, $20 a day or 50. I can't remember what they paid.
What was it? It was,
maybe it was a little more. Maybe it was like $50 a day.
Because I was a team leader for like 3 days before, it was after I got fired the first time. But I can't remember. It came out to like, instead of making, I think it was $44 a day.
44.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like 44. Yeah. That's what's jumping out at me because I was making at the time $660 a day, and it took me up to like $4. So it's $34 a day.
God damn, $660 a day. That's great.
I know.
Dude. Yeah, that was the old. So did you? Again, we'll talk about in a little bit the pay, but yeah. So you're thrown into it. Except, what's your first day like? You write about in the book.
So when they got us on a plane in Jordan, they were like, all right, we're going to go into Baghdad. And it is like, it's just like nice and relaxed. We're sitting in these seats. We're in this Casa bird. And the Casa, if you've ever seen anybody like jumping out and skydiving where the back ramp comes down, it's the exact same thing. It's a small cargo plane. And I'm sitting in a seat and I got my computer on my lap and I'm playing Minesweeper, right? Because that's what you do back then. It was either Minesweeper or that skiing game where the abominable snowman would eat you, right? like that was
that's a throwback. Yeah, that's like 90s throwback. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know the games. Yeah.
So I'm playing Minesweeper and dude, my laptop like lifts off my legs and I was like, dude, we're going down. We're going down. Yeah. And I'm just praying. Yeah. Like at that point, I'm like, Lord, forgive me for that one time that like I looked at somebody's butt and I shouldn't have been. Yeah. Like everything is going through my mind. And dude, what's happening is they start corkscrewing in. Right. So if you come in all nice and easy like this, you're a tasty target for an RPG. If you corkscrew in, it's a much harder target. But dude, the Blackwater pilots, I mean, they all smelled like booze. They were all hungover as shit. They were like, let's roll, dude. And they hit that corkscrew so hard that literally everybody in the plane thought we were dead. And then they level off and they start getting in, and I look out the window, there's the airport, and this guy walks past me, he's part of the crew, and opens up a box, hands everybody an AK-47. One magazine. It's like, all right, if something bad happens, guys, go hot. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. And then they put the back cargo ramp down. He tethers in, he grabs like I think it was just a saw, like a full-size saw, and he's sitting on the back with his legs just swinging like a kid, just hanging out back there. And I was like, what the fuck did I just get myself into? Like, I have no idea what is going on here. They finally land the plane and they pick us up in like a bongo truck and all these soft skin vehicles. Now, dude, all through training, don't worry, guys. We got these big armored Suburbans, man. You're going to be protected. It's going to be really nice. And they show up in like a Peugeot with a bongo truck. And they're like, all right, take all your crap out of there and throw it in the back of the bongo truck, and then you're going to hop in this soft skin vehicle, and we're going to drive on Route Irish, which is the most bombed route in Iraq at the time. We're gonna get you guys to the green zone. I was like, this is rough, dude. I was not expecting this. So on the outside, they'd actually put some like metal plates. They'd welded some metal plates on the outside for a little bit of protection.
With the bongo truck?
Yeah, of the bongo truck and of like the Peugeot, the SUVs.
Yeah.
And, you know, windows down. The guy's like blaring rock music as hard as he can. I was like, dude, I can't hear anything at all. And it's July in Baghdad, and it's just hot as shit, man. It's absolutely miserable. And we just bonsai as fast as we can to the green zone. And then once we get through the green zone, it's like, all right, guys, that was it. Drop all your shit. Like, because we had to borrow body armor, like old, sweaty, nasty body armor. And we just drop our stuff, and they're like, yeah, somebody will come pick you up soon. And then they went off and started drinking beer. And I was like, this is this is like Nam style, dude. Like, everybody's drinking beer and partying. Like, this is absolutely insane. We finally get picked up. They take us over to essentially take our death photo. They don't tell you that's what it is, but like, go into the embassy, get your picture taken. They give you like your little badge that you put in your man purse that goes around your neck. And if you die, that's what they're going to put on your obituary. So, dude, I'm like 36 hours awake. I look like in that picture, I look exactly how I felt. like just like a cat dragged me in and like kicked dirt on me. It was absolutely awful. And then we go over to this little area. It's our team area. It's got a tent, and they just start giving us our weapons. Like, hey, here's an M4, here's a Glock, here's a like load up whatever ammo you want. And then I'm like, all right, go to that big circus tent over there, and that's where you guys are gonna sleep for a while. And then, you know, just after breakfast, come back over to the tent and we'll figure it out. That was it, dude. That was like
figuring it out as you went.
Just I mean, it was like the crazy, if you guys want internet, you can come to the team tent. It happens to be 8 miles from the tent that you're actually sleeping in, so you're going to sweat to death. But hey, here's the chow. Here's the chow in the U.S. Embassy. You guys can get Pop-Tarts and stuff, and come on over.
June of in Iraq. That's right? It was like June you landed, right? Or when did you land?
No, it was like, it was late July, early August,
Christ,
something
I've
like
been
that.
There. Yeah, I landed in late July, August. My second pump was late July, August. I mean, my first pump went through that time, but Christ, that's a fucking terrible time to be in Iraq.
It was so miserable.
It's so hot.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not, because when were you there during the invasion? Was it like still like
it was March? Yeah.
So it's like the weather's okay.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't get super hot. Like it's I don't know, maybe like 70s, 60s, 70s. Maybe even sometimes it was colder. Sometimes we'd get like a cold snap.
It would be cold. Like it was cold at night.
Yeah.
But during the day when the sun came out, like it was starting to get hot.
Yeah.
Like, especially late March.
Yeah. It starts ramping up pretty quick. Yeah. Because I remember we got there early March and it like didn't snow, but it rained.
Yeah.
And I was freezing to death I was like, oh my God, I thought I was going to be like sweating my balls off. And I'm like, I didn't bring my warm weather gear and I was like freezing my ass off the first I don't know, like week.
But dude, it's
nuts.
shocking how cold it gets there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My second deployment was over winter, and it was the first time it had snowed in Baghdad in 80 years. So I was there in 2007 to 8.
Okay.
And it had snowed in Baghdad and Camp Fallujah, and I remember seeing it. I was like, holy shit, you know. It was cold. I mean, it got fucking cold, you know. And we did one mission that we didn't quite plan properly when I was in sniper platoon, and we froze our asses off for about 3 days. It was absolutely miserable.
It was shockingly cold. I mean, like I came from Arizona, so I thought, oh, it's not going to be that bad. But Baghdad is right on the river, so you have that humidity on top of like that 120 plus degree just misery.
Yeah,
it's like walk out of the tent, and the whole tent smells like piss, right? It's like a circus tent, except it's brown. You walk out of the tent, and within like 10 steps, it's like you're just pouring sweat. So
that's crazy. I always keep thinking of this. So like for context, for people that don't know it, I mean, like, and this is still pretty early on in the war. This is less than a year or about a year in. Yeah. So it's like, you know, you're kind of like, there's tents, there's like, it's still figuring shit out. Like it's still 2004. So it's like, you know, like I said, the way people are getting housed, like, you know, it's that weird thing of like, how long is the war going to go for? You know, like I can't imagine what it was like, what you guys were thinking, like, what the fuck is going on? You know?
So what they did is they put us in those tents, and then when a room opened up behind the embassy pool, they would put us in one of those rooms, and there might have been 60 of us that got rooms. I got one of the last rooms that they actually set up, because they were building a man camp, and I don't know if you ever went to it, but it was right across from the embassy. It was 500 man camp, so it's supposed to be 500 dudes just living in there, just dudes being dudes, walking around bare chested. After you get your pump on. But yeah, like initially it was just like you got a room, and if you got a room behind the pool, you just held on to that for dear life. Like you never wanted to move. So I ended up getting one of those rooms, and it was close to everything. It was close to our little team tent. It was close to like where we parked. It was absolutely spectacular. But I mean, it was still, you know, you're rooming up. I think I roomed up with an army major. I think he was like an optometrist or something like that. Yeah. So
wait, part of Blackwater or just like in generalities?
It was just an army dude. Okay. It was like, hey, this guy just left, so there's a bed. Go ahead.
Oh, so your shared room was a dual room or something, like, or shared?
Yeah, no, I mean his bed was right next to my bed. Yeah. And you know, we could snuggle. We could snuggle when indirect came in.
I was Iraq 06, 07, 08, but I didn't see, and my buddies that were contractors went and saw the green zone and all that stuff with triple canopy. So I refused to go take a contract back to Iraq because I had done 2 pumps. So I'm not going back to that shithole. I'm not doing it. So
because Afghanistan's so much nicer.
Well, I love Afghanistan. Afghanistan's awesome. I'm gonna say, I mean, like it has the mountains. You know, I was in the RC East, RC Central, RC East. So I was like, I'm gonna go back to Afghanistan. I love Afghanistan. It was actually really cool. You get winters, it's mountains, it's views. Yeah. But I was like, I'm not, and my buddies that did go, so I know of it. I just never made my way. I never got to the green zone or anything like that. So it's always interesting to hear how people were and lived, because I'm used to like Bagram, and smaller bases. I mean, we were in Al Assad, but I was only there for like a week. Yeah. You know, going in and out with the Marine Corps, which, you know, is different.
Dude, I mean, I'm just glad that Saddam Hussein took the oil for food money and created such nice places. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. It is like think of Mar-a-Lago must look like this, right? Yeah. Like this is what it must look like. He's got a pool. It's like perfectly manicured and landscaped. And then in the embassy inside, like this just used to be his house, and it's literally got.
And that's the embassy. So they took it, like his house, and then made it the embassy.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like it's like 3 stories, but you got a basement. And I remember I was sitting there having breakfast, and we started getting indirect fire, which just, it happened every day. Like in the morning, it's like you have the, and then somebody would like drive a bongo truck on the other side of the river, shoot some indirect fire, rockets or mortars, and then take off before we could get helicopters in the air. So I'm in the embassy and I'm eating, and they lock everybody down, and they're like, go to the basement, go to the basement. Dude, I sat in the basement with like all these TCNs, these third country nationals. Yeah. And dude, they smell. Dude, they just smell so bad, man. Yeah. So we're sitting under there on these old rugs. These are probably like hand woven rugs that are worth like $8,000 to $10,000 that they took from Saddam's different places, and some pillows and stuff. And we sat there for like an hour. And I was like, dude, this is probably the worst thing that has ever happened to me in my life at this point. So the next day, I'm sitting there eating breakfast in the embassy. Indirect fire comes in. Dude, I ran out the exit door, dude. I was like, phew, and everybody's like, where are you going? We're getting indirect. And I was like, I'm not going to the basement, dude.
Yeah.
You can't tell me to go to the basement. I'm not in the military. I'm out of here, man. So
you can't tell me what to do. I work for Blackwater.
Yeah. So, dude, I was gone, man.
Yeah. That is a feeling, man. In the Marine Corps, we revel in it when it's like we go contract. You can't tell me what to fucking do. Like that's probably one of the biggest reasons why we become contractors, just so we can tell people like, fuck off. You can't tell us what to do. You know?
Hey, you got to clear your weapon before you come in here. And I was like, I got the red W on my thing. It means I can have my weapon hot. So
No,
I don't give a shit if you're a colonel or not. Like,
I don't have to do anything. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, my buddy ran into. This was, I think it was Iraq, and he ran into like our old platoon sergeant. And it wasn't like he was a bad dude, the platoon sergeant. He just like kind of got rid of us old timers which makes sense. You got to get your new platoon going or whatever. But he kind of just blew us off, and like Matt's standing there, and the guy like shows up, and he's just like, oh, and Matt's just like, I'm not talking to you. Like I'm making triple what you're making, one of those things. Like I know you're a lifer in the Marine Corps, but like I made more money than your entire career in the last 3 years.
Well, dude, and you get treated like a god, right?
Yeah, you're just on your own. It's like it's this cool little, it's probably it's different these days. I don't even know. Again, we'll talk about this after we go through your book and stuff like that. We got some time on this podcast. But yeah, it's definitely like, you're in this weird quasi. Everyone kind of respects you. You're on your own time. It's weird. It is. It's like, because you're not special operations by any means, but those guys like you because you can probably get something. Infantry and even everyone has to kind of show you that respect, and you still are, because you're running diplomats, and it's like you're not part of the chain of command. It's just like this weird, cool gray area that you can live in.
Well, nobody knew what we did either. At the time, so like, dude, you could get in anywhere you wanted.
Yep.
And then
you have access to everything.
Yeah. People would be like, so this was a while in, but I think it was early 05. I got on the Little Birds, and we were going to protect John Bolton. John Bolton, what a turd he is. But I thought it was Michael Bolton. I was like,
that's a great story to tell.
Yeah. So dude, I'm thinking I'm gonna go over there, like USO tours, like you see all these guys. So get onto the Little Bird. I'm hungover as shit, man. And I got long hair. I got a big beard going on. And we fly into, I think it was Camp Victory, Camp Liberty, one of those right by, So we drop off, and this PFC comes out, and he's like, hey man, how's the hunting? And I was like, I protect diplomats, man. Like it's not that big of a deal. I protect diplomats. And he's like, yeah, I get it. But like, how's the hunting? And I was like, do you have Gatorade? Like, I'm really hungover. Can you like hook me up with a Gatorade? And he's like, yeah, we got some cold Gatorade. Like, how's the hunting? And I was like, it's great. Dude, the hunting's great. like because I'm not going to convince him otherwise. Yeah.
He's like, wink, wink, nod, nod.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So everybody thought we were like special operations guys. And then once we actually got on the ground, Charlie Daniels was there doing a USO tour. So we got a picture with Charlie Daniels, and dude, he was literally one of the nicest dudes ever. But dude, every day was like that. Like I could go to the pilots and say, hey, I'll buy you guys Burger King if you fly me over to Camp Liberty, and we'll all get Burger King. And they'd be like, all right, whatever. Yeah. Or like I talk about when the 6th Harry Potter book came out, and my guys we were getting ready to make a run, and I was like, dude, the 6th Harry Potter book comes out, dude, and I'm a Harry Potter fan. I'm a big, like, dude, I got my magic wand, like, I'm ready for it. And dude, I convinced my team, why don't we just drive down the most bombed route in Baghdad, Route Irish, so I can go pick it up at the big PX, and then I'll read Harry Potter for the next few days, and it'll be great. And everybody just went with it. Like it was just, you could do whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted. Hey, we'll pick up beer on the way back. Then we'll go to the pool, get absolutely wasted, and make asses of ourselves. But nobody cares.
Yeah.
So
and you're making money.
Yeah. Oh, so much money too. I mean, and that's what like the guns, girls, and greed. Right? Guns is pretty self-explanatory. Greed is like, dude, all we talked about was how much money we were making. Like it's insane. People are like, oh, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to take my trip here and I'm going to spend $28,000 there. And I came home and I got a Harley Davidson. It was 60,000. Like, dude, it was like giving a bunch of dumb white trash kids like a windfall, and we all just spent it like it was going out of style.
And everyone did it. Like we were talking about on the way back, I did the same, you know. And this was 7 years later, so we at least had like your guys' stories to be like, don't do what they did, you know. And we still did it, you know. It is. I think it's just because like you get out of them. One, you don't make anything in the military.
Yeah.
My first pump I made $14,000, and that was like crazy. Like we were getting mortared, got blown up IEDs, like sniper, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, here's $14,000 for the last 7 months. So basically a little more than not even. It's like right at $2,000 I made, which is nothing. Same with the second deployment, third deployment. Yeah, I did 10 months. So I was like, oh, good. I got $16,000 in my bank account or whatever it was. I can't remember. But you do that, you make that in a month. Like I made more in my first month than I did in my first deployment for 7.
Yeah.
You know, and my responsibilities are way less. I have one job and one job only.
Dude, it was the perfect job.
Yeah.
It really was the perfect job.
It was. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I mean, optics were just barely coming out. So people would be like, I just spent $2,000 on this ACOG. And then they get it on their rifle and they're like, this thing sucks.
Yeah.
And then they'd like sell it to somebody else for $1,000. And we had the Saddam Hussein's like nickel plated AK-47 that somebody bought from somebody. And then they realized they couldn't get it home. So then they'd sell it to somebody else. They were sure they could get it home.
Yeah.
And then sell it to somebody else. So it was like this revolving door of just like people selling crap that they didn't want. They spent too much money on.
God, yeah. And again, talk about it a little bit. I'm sure you guys have any like crazy business ideas? Because that was what was cool in my era was the business ideas were actually starting to take. So, you know, you had your t-shirt companies that were really getting hot.
Yeah.
You know, so guys were talking about t-shirt companies. One dude was going to do ATMs. I like heard some not crazy stuff, but you're kind of like, oh, all right, like good for you. I want to be a filmmaker since I was 13. So I'm like, I'm going to go to film school and, you know, that's what I'm going to do, you know, and whatever, you know, and I'll have my cash, but essentially just kind of like move on from that. But it was cool to hear what guys were trying to do. You know, it's like, I don't know if you guys had that entrepreneurial or if it was more because like my generation felt like they're like, we're going to do something with this money. They didn't. But at least there was, it wasn't like I bought a new car because everyone's like, don't go buy a vehicle yet. Yeah. Like don't do stupid shit. Like wait till you're done and then figure something out. Like don't go home and buy. My buddy Matt, I love him. He went his first contract triple canopy. He went home and bought a $10,000 M40A3 replica of our sniper rifle in the Marine Corps. She's shot it like 100 times. Like in 10 years, he finally sold it because he's got 3 kids now. And he's like, yeah, I sold that thing. It was like, I remember when he bought it, you know, and he got his little LWRC, shorty. And he's like, oh man, you know, it was awesome. He bought his Tacoma and he's like, I gotta go back to work.
Yeah. No, I mean, dude, that's exactly the cycle, right? Yeah. So we had the people that were buying land in Belize. They were buying coastal land in Belize. That was one.
That's probably a smart one. Did that turn out at all?
No.
Okay.
We had the guys that would spend like a third of their paycheck every month and buy Iraqi dinar.
That's wild.
Because Iraqi dinar was so before 1991, every Iraqi dinar was worth $3, right? So this Iraqi dinar is worth $750. And they were like, dude, the dinar is coming back. And I was like, that's not how it works. And dude, I'm not even smart.
Really, before the 90s, that's what it was, the exchange rate was?
Yeah,
it was $3 for one Iraqi dinar?
Yeah, so in Kuwait, it's the same thing. It's 3 to 1. So if you have 5 dinars, it's $15, right?
Because of the oil, I imagine, or something. Because they're next to each other, obviously, Kuwait.
So when I got those, I thought I was sitting on like millions of dollars, and I went to go trade them in, and they're like, you can't do that. That's against the law. And I was like, well, forget I came here. Yeah. So they bought all these dinars, and now they're still worth absolutely nothing. We did have the t-shirt company. I think it was called Pipe Hitters Union or something like that.
Oh, I remember them. Yeah, Pipe Hitters Union. They still around?
I don't think so.
Okay, I do remember. I remember Pipe Hitters Union. I remember them. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it was like this revolving door where people would get done with their first 6 months, come back, and they'd tell you everything that they blew money on, and they'd be like, oh, so you don't have any money left. And dude, I did the same thing, right?
I did too.
I got a Land Rover.
Yep.
Like I blew through cash.
I didn't buy things. I just didn't work for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like that's what I did. Which is, I said film school. Like I did film school and it was amazing. I regret nothing. But I didn't have to work at all, you know. So it was just like watch movies, and I was getting GI Bill. So it was like, it slowly went, you know. And then at the end I always say, man, I wish I would have saved because I ended film school and I had no money. And I'm like, probably could have used that 70, 80,000 to buy a camera. Like I didn't even have like a camera. I wasn't even thinking that far ahead to be like, maybe I should buy a camera so I have something at the end of this thing.
So when you edit this is your first piece of advice for PMCs. If you want to get into the game, here's number one. Bing, you'll put a one right there. I don't know. I'm just so here's number one. Set a goal, because nobody set a goal, dude. Myself included, right? Set a goal, whether it's I want $200,000 in the bank, I want to be able to pay for college, I want to pay my house off, whatever that goal is. And when you reach it, what happens is you flip the paradigm. You no longer have to go back because you need the money. You're choosing to go back because you want to do something else. So we had one dude that I think he got up to like $250,000, started buying up houses, do exceptionally well for himself. Like holy crap. I mean, he'll still wear a pair of overalls and look like he's worth 7 cents, and he drives like a 1996 Toyota Tacoma. But like those people that saved their money or said, hey, I'm gonna buy a house, and then that house turned into a rental because they got their second house. Like those are the guys that you could tell they were coming back because they wanted to, not because they had to.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference is I went home, I bought a nice Land Cruiser, and I blew all my cash, and then I bought a house, but the housing bust came and pretty much wiped all that stuff out. So at the end of it, like when I finally got done with college, I had a college degree in criminal justice, which is worth just about nothing. And I had like $50,000. So 18 years of my life, or 18 months of my life over in Iraq, and essentially I had 50,000 at the end of it. And I was one of the ones that like saved, man. That's the crazy part.
Same. I was the one too. Like I had that same goal. Like I was telling you on the way back, 3 years. That's it. And then I would almost stop before that. I was like, I'm not doing this long term. This is a quick get in, get out. And for me, it was also decompression too. Like I also knew that it would help me transition to being a civilian. Like it was like therapy almost. Like you just like get to talk with the boys. We're all from the same era. We're all in different battles. You would always, it was great because we would hang out, smoke cigars, you drink, and then you're making money, and then you did your job, and then you just kind of, to me, it was like, all right, this is like, you know, make money and then move on. And that's what I did too. I didn't really have a goal for my money other than like, okay, after the end of this, I'm going back.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's whatever I end up with, and that's what I did. I end up with like, well, they started taxing shit. So I guess technically at the end, I think I ended up with like 90 grand. Yeah. You know, it was like I worked off and on for 3 years. So it was like, I'd do a contract for 3 months, and then I didn't work for 8. And I do another 3, it didn't work. And then I finally did the 1 year, and I end of technically after taxes, like a few months later, technically if all said and done would have been like, I think like 90 grand or something like that. I came home with like 70.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I did taxes 3 months later, and then got like $20,000 check in the mail from the IRS.
We were straight 1099, so
yeah, which was bullshit. Yeah. I mean, not good for you, bullshit for us. Sorry, because they turned us into W-2s the day I landed.
Well, but the problem is all these guys. Okay, so like I'll start at the beginning here. In 2004, there was like this was not a career. This was literally swiping right on a big bootied goth girl. And you're like, dude, I'm going to enjoy this for as long as I can. And it's probably going to turn out bad. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have some pretty fun stories out of it, right? Like straight up Tinder.
Yeah.
And when we got overseas, that's really what it was. Everybody's like, this is a cash grab. We are absolutely going to get as much money as we can because these contracts are going away, right? Iraq is going away. Everything's going away. Department of State is going to start training their own people. We're not going to have cash, right? 100% cash grab. And then they 1099'd us, which is good in theory. But you have to remember, dude, the guy that's swiping right on the big booty goth girl is not the guy that's thinking ahead. Right? So dude, like IRS, like I can't tell you how many people owe the IRS hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they were like, well, I was overseas. I thought it was tax free. Or, oh, my ex-wife, my accountant, so dude, everybody was like, I don't know. I'd like it's very weird to me that a lot of people just weren't watching their own money. And now, I mean, 20 years later, there are people that are still in the game. Like there's people that I worked with that were over in Gaza doing the UG Solutions contract.
We might know the same person.
And literally they're like, because they got all pissed off at me because I wrote an article and they were like, oh, you're taking money out of my mouth. And I was like, dude, I don't know Donald Trump. Like he's not going to read my article first off. And second off, dude, you've been in the game for 20 something years. How do you not have any money? They're literally like, I don't have anything. Everything is in storage. And I was like, well, that's kind of on you, bro. Yeah, that has nothing to do with my article.
Yeah.
So,
and we were running into that in 2012.
Yeah.
And God bless him. I would, not to speak ill, but it's like you saw the life, like because you were early days, 04, which is like right out the gate, like a year or two in. I was there 10 years in, and it was, I saw the right, and a bunch of us, the young guys, because I was 20, again, I was 26, so 24 to 26 roughly. And I was like, no, writing's on the wall. Guys were divorced, remarried.
Yeah.
They're on their second house. It was after the crash, so you could get some bomb-ass houses at like 1.8% interest rates. I mean, like mansions. And so they were kind of cashing on that, even, because they were after the '08 bust. But then they were buying homes, and then like their wife was cheating on them, or they would get a divorce, and now they have 2 homes, and they can't go back.
Yeah.
They're used to the alimony. They're used to the payment for both homes or whatever.
Yeah.
So $15,000 a month, like where are you going to find $15,000 a month back stateside? Especially in 2012, unless you were some VP or more, you're not making that type of money. And some guys had careers before they took off in 04. Or what, they were cops or state troopers. It's like, dude, you've been out the game for 10 years. Like you're not going to go back to your whatever you were making, like you got to work your way back up the ladder again.
No, honestly, it's sad because,
and I knew guys that, by the way, they stayed in my generation, I knew guys that stayed in 6 years, but they were pretty good about it. Yeah. I always talk about my buddy, Matt. He's great. He's married, 3 kids now. And he knew that. He's like, yep, I'm just making, and he ended up with a pretty good amount at the end. He owned his vehicle, owned enough, got married, was like, okay, this is my last hurrah. And it was crazy, man. I had a buddy in 2018. And he was just stopping, and he'd been doing it for a decade. And he was the one that got me into it. He was a Marine, got out in '08. It was Blackwater.
Yeah.
And they were doing the contract to train the Afghans on M16s. So we were at the same base, and I wanted to do it, but they got really into it because it was a small base. Marines find Marines. He's like, dude, they're paying us fucking $450 a day to teach these Afghans. And he was awesome. And he was like, you can do your VA like this, blah, blah. And this was 2008. So there was a few years of learning curve. But he was telling me, he's like, yeah, man. He's like, the game changed, it's kind of the same story. Yeah, you're right. I agree with you. It's just like, I don't even know if you can do that anymore. I mean, like I said, the career guys have the jobs. I don't even know if like you're a young buck ranger or Army or like Marine infantry coming out the gate. I don't even know.
No,
I don't even think it exists anymore.
It's kind of turned back to word of mouth. Because when Gaza kicked off, I had some guys reach out to me and they're like, let's go to Gaza. And I was like, dude, I'm old. Like I went to bend down and tie my shoes and I threw my back out. Okay. like, dude, I'm out of the game.
Yeah. Do you ever twist your ankle just standing?
Yeah.
It's like I've done that where I'm like, my ankle gave way and I'm like, what the fuck? And my wife's like, what'd you do? I was like, nothing. I was standing here and my ankle just like gave way. And I'm like,
Yeah, your knee buckles or I sneeze and my neck hurts. It's like, dude, I can't keep doing that.
You blow your back out sneezing.
Yeah. So, dude, I mean, it's like most of those guys that are still in the game is because they have to be. Yeah. And the one thing about contracting is the day you leave country, your paycheck is done.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, there's a few gigs that used to pay you.
Yeah.
My buddies that were involved for a long time, I think Osa and Hunter, again, we'll talk about the contract game for a little bit. Osa and Hunter, I think they paid you stateside. And my buddy Matt was on it. And now I think they've shifted like government contracts or something. I don't think he's working for them anymore. He works for another company, but not doing this at all. Not doing what we used to do. But it was, I think Osa and Hunter was one, or they had one where it was like, they would pay you when you came back. It wasn't as much, obviously, but it was kind of a W-2 where like, hey, when you go overseas, then you make money, but then the month or two you're off.
Yeah, kind of like teachers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, you make like a certain amount and then do some training, and then you head back or something like that. But
yeah, I mean, the problem is that the bills don't stop when the paycheck stops. So when you got that guy that's got 3 houses, he's got alimony, he's got child support, those guys just have to keep going back, and you never want to be at a place where you have to go back.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you should always want to go back. And dude, war is toxic, but it's intoxicating. Like, it's not good for you. Going over there is not like, training you to be a better human later. But you want to keep going back. You miss your guys. You miss how easy. Remember how easy life was? Dude, I drop my laundry off, comes back, it's clean. I walk 20 steps, somebody feeds me food.
Yeah.
Like, I go over to the gas station, they fill up my car. I don't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
Like, dude, yes, you're risking your life, and indirect fire doesn't give a crap.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, all of your needs are taken care of, and you come home and you have those bills, and you have your kids, and you got to take them to daycare, and you have like all that responsibility that you get to just not have over there. Like, dude, that's a lot of people just want to come back. I can't tell you how many people were like, oh, I'm going to take 3-4 months off, and then they got home and they were like, no, it's too much reality. I gotta I had to come back.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. I remember those years, and I was like, man, I gotta get back on a contract to like in that 3-year mark, because I want to make something and then leave. But I remember at the end of my film school, man, I thought about it. Like, I was like, I even got a hold of, I think it was Patriot Group, or I can't remember what they're called. A guy gave me the thing. This was 2016, and I was broke. I was like ending film school. I was like coming up my last 2 months, and they were like sent my like a resume in, and I'd met my wife, and at the time we'd been dating a few months, and it was like, and it was that thing where I was like, you know what? Yeah, they go, yep, come out in July. Tryout is actually for global response, GRS or whatever you call it. So it was mobile CIA protection, and so the chances of me making it were probably pretty low because you have to go through the shooting. The shooting's like really hard, but they were like, yeah, we'll let you come on with like your resume, and it was 2016, so a lot of stuff had kind of gone to the wayside, and so, but I remember just being like, no, like they invited me, and I got the email, and they're like, but then they were like, you got to fly yourself out, and I'm like, first off, clearly this is like not how things should be going. Yeah. So this is not the same as it was 5 years ago. Why, so it was just one of those things though. I was like, no, like I called it. I don't need it. This is, you just got to do this for me, the struggling filmmaker thing. Like, yeah, it sucks. Would it nice to have that 80 grand, but I'm not going to go back and spend the next 2 years of my life chasing 40 grand, 50 grand to come back with, or whatever, Well, dude, you still got to do your career. Like, for me, it's like, if I leave 2 years, that's 2 years I don't have experience to push me 2 years forward, like, not saying I'm behind the 8 ball, but it's like, you missed college, how much? Well, that moves you back. It's kind of like your career. Like, well, I've been gone 2 years. Well, you got to make that up, so.
Oh, dude, I mean, I started college in 99, and I finally finished it in December 2007. So, I mean, you just, it's putting your life on hold.
Yeah.
It's literally like going into a worm tunnel, like the Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And then you come home and like everything's just a little different. Like everything's the same, but it's a little different. And you're like, okay, am I Doctor Strange in this? Or am I like Iron Man? What's happening here? And then, dude, it just gets to a point where like I kept going overseas so much, like that was my comfort zone. So, I mean, I don't want to. Somebody's going to do the job at the end of the day. Yeah. I just hope that somebody will sit here and look at this, and we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about the Defense Base Act and kind of some of the benefits that you have. But just don't make the same stupid mistakes I did.
Yeah,
like I mean, you did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we all did. But and like I'd say, like have your fun, but have your out.
Yeah,
like that's what at the end of the day you're gonna blow your money or might do something with it, but set your goal and then walk away. Yeah, just walk away. Because it's. I'm not saying it'll always be there by any means, but. It is you don't keep falling back on it because you're going to just keep, you gotta, and my buddy, he was great. He was just like, oh, I'm going to get my degree now. And they'd always make fun of me because I was doing my bachelor's when I was a contractor on whips. So I'd be working on my bachelor's, like typing up papers in between mission runs. And they'd be like, nerd, blah, 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 blah. And then 7 years later, they're like, I wish I would have done the same thing as you, because now they're getting their bachelor's and they have kids and they're trying to balance all that, and it's like, but yeah, you got to have an out or at least have a plan, what are you going to do with the money and then just walk away.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get to the second good advice because you just rang it in my head. But when I got to Blackwater in Baghdad, no GPS, no phones, no like none of that stuff, right? And even back then there was no Blue Force tracker.
Yeah.
So when you left the green zone, you were on your own. It was you and like 12 of your buddies, half of which you didn't even like, and it was like, okay, if something happens, dude, it's just us.
Yeah.
So we got hooked into the Regime Crimes Liaison Office. These are the guys that were protecting or gathering evidence, Saddam Hussein, Chemical Ali, all those guys. And we would run up to JSS Justice, which is northern Baghdad. That's where they hang Saddam Hussein and all the other dudes. But we go to courts and all this other stuff. So like, if there ever was a time when I was in Blackwater where I thought, I'm actually helping like the war effort, it was that. The Regime Crimes Liaison Office. And they ended up sending us to Sulaymaniyah. If you're familiar with history, in 1988, outside of Sulaymaniyah, Saddam Hussein and Chemical Ali gassed the Kurds up there, killed something like 8,000 people. Maybe it was less than that, but whatever. Like it was like they literally gassed their own people. And we were up there like gathering evidence, and I was like, man, this is pretty cool. I mean, it was boring as all get up, dude, because it's like safe, and I was there kind of for the adventure. But we're staying in a hotel in Sulaymaniyah, and one of the guys is sitting there learning Arabic. And I was like, oh, you're such a nerd. You're such a dork. Oh, like, dude, and everybody would give him hell. He would just stay in his room, dude, and just like, we had access to Rosetta Stone, and he would just learn Arabic. And then turns out, this is your next set of advice. Bing! Do something with your downtime. Take college classes like this guy. Like, learn Arabic. Do something because you have so much downtime. Like,
oh, yeah.
All your needs are taken care of. You have a lot of downtime. And I wish, like you were saying, I wish I would have done college classes. I wish I would have done absolutely anything instead of playing like Xbox and reading Harry Potter and all these things, going to the gym extra so I get extra swole today, getting wasted at the pool, if you're gonna go over there, at least start doing something to take an investment strategy course or something, right? And put your money into IRAs, do something that's going to better yourself in like 10, 15, 20 years, because it will pay off.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't do any of that shit. What I did is I watched Haji movie porn.
Yelled at the kids that were selling the DVDs, 2 for 1. I give them back to you.
Oh, dude, those kids.
I'll give you another one, you buy 2. Like, all right, fine, bye.
I mean, they knew such good English.
They did,
dude,
yeah.
they had every cuss word down, man.
Good copy? Good copy,
Yeah.
good copy. Good copy.
So we were like, in Baghdad, we go to a little bazaar that got blown up.
Yeah.
Before it got blown up, and these kids would come out and they got like the stacks of DVDs, and they'd be like, oh, and it's got like every brand new movie. And they're trying to show you these movies, and you're like, no, I'm not good. And at the bottom of the stack is like the porn, dude. It is like European weird German porn.
Yeah.
It's not anything that you would even be ready for. So like this kid is trying to sell me DVDs. I say no. And he starts showing me the porn. And I was like, no, dude, I'm good. And he's like, are you a faggot? You gay? You gay? You like men? And I was like, whoa, bro, how do you know such good English?
Yeah, he's a hard salesman.
Yeah, and second, I'm like, I'm still not going to buy any of this stuff, dude.
You're going to guilt me into buying German porn.
Yeah, it's like, the German Shepherd.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that's, and some guys are doing it. Like I said, I think my generation too. I mean, you guys had Piper's Union, I remember. But it was like, I think one guy had, Infidel. I wish I remember his name. That T-shirt actually took off a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was learning about. He was like, "Oh yeah, it's like it wasn't original Infidel clothing line or some shit like that." But it was his shirt got popular. It had a waterboarding, or so you're like waterboarding somebody. It was like a little design, and it went like viral.
Yeah.
At the time, and so he was looking at T-shirt printers and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, cool. He's got a little bit of a plan, but you're still here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're always like, why are you here? And he's like, oh, I'm getting some money for this, or I'm getting some money for that, or, But yeah, it is. It's exactly. I'm with you. Like, do something with your downtime. Yeah. Even, by the way, I still, fucked off and play video games. And believe me, you have plenty of time. Like, you can do get your bachelor's and also play video games still and still get drunk. I mean, we still did, you know.
Yeah.
But by the end of my time there, things got. I mean, you guys would blow your mind, like how strict they got. Like we couldn't drink anymore. They're like, you can't drink.
Gotta quit.
Yeah, and they were like, nope, no more of that. And one guy got fired because his like wife sent him a bottle of booze through the mail. And they checking them, and it was like we were doing runs to the embassy to grab booze. So you were like risking. It was like they were like, don't do that, but you can still drink. So we would get one, grab booze, and then it turned into no, you can't drink at all. Like, and then they did room inspections. And you're like, yeah, it was wild. And when I got there, we were partying. By the time I left, it was like, dude, I'm out. Like, this isn't fun anymore. You know, it's just kind of like. Yeah, we're adults. And they're like, well, you have a day off. Like, well, okay, so we can go out in Kabul, right? No, we're just not going to pay you. They just didn't pay you. Yeah, they just, you get the day off. I don't want a day off. I'm here to work. I don't. Then at the end, they're just like, well, then don't sign the contract.
Yeah.
So they just took our 7th day of pay, which the Department of State was paying them, and then they just pocketed the 7th day, and they gave us a day off, you know? So it was just, you know, I always hear about you guys and your time. It's like, oh, man. And we had guys that were there from your time. And I wish I remember their names other than, you know, my buddy Federley. That's it. There's the only one I remember. But they were there in 04, 05, 06. We talked about walking away. One guy walked away with, he said, I think it was $250,000 with the bonuses, and then if you stay, I think he didn't leave Iraq for a whole year.
Yeah.
So if you stayed by, like you said, $660 a day or whatever you're making, so the end of your whatever year you're making stupid amount of money per month or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, like I said, like I wasn't the smartest guy, but I knew I had to pay taxes.
Yeah.
So the first thing I tried to figure out is like, what do I need to do to pay taxes? And if you stay in country for 330 out of 365 days, your first 85,000 is tax free. Mm-hmm. So I was making about $200,000.
Was that you guys? Was it at one point completely tax free, or was it always that way?
No, it was always that way.
It was okay because when I went through, it was 92.5. They upped it.
Yeah,
so that's cool to hear. Okay, $7,000, whatever.
Yeah,
but I remember hearing guys were like, no, it wasn't till Obama.
No.
And I was like, okay, man, whatever. I know it's 92.5. I've looked it up. It's in the IRS code.
Yeah.
But okay, so you guys, so it was 85 for you guys then.
Yeah. So then you drop your taxable income from 200,000 to 115, and you're paying taxes on 115. And I set up an LLC. I put some money in some IRAs because I took some advice from some people that actually had a brain. So at the end of the day, I think my actual tax rate was something like 15% of the full 200,000.
Yeah.
But a lot of dudes were like, "Oh, it's all tax free, man. We got this."
Yeah. I always had to. Well, I shouldn't say I always had to pay, but I always did my taxes. You know,
Yeah.
so it was like, okay, you're good to go. But you know, yeah. But yeah. Did you know Lawrence Swan?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Did you know guys that use Lawrence
Yeah,
Swan?
I've heard of this individual.
Yeah, no one knows unless you were in the community. That's a deep cut. Yeah,
because he was in San Diego.
Yeah, Florida last
Was he?
time. Well, in my time, he was in Florida. So yeah, if anybody knows Lawrence Swan, he was Blackwater's tax man for a while. Not everyone. He was like. Yeah, he was doing some shady stuff with your tax returns, you know, and some guys got caught with them, you know. I know my buddies did. I knew a few guys that did, you know. They had to pay the tax IRS for like a few years after and all this other crazy shit.
I mean, dude, it really came down like you had to. So I got there in August and I was like, okay, I'm going to do 04 and I'm going to have to pay taxes on that. But I had always planned on doing the full 2005 and I did. You know, I got fired right at the end, but we can get to that. So it was really like, I'm here, I want the tax benefits, and then I'm out. And then when I got to the end of 05, I was like, I kind of want to stay in. I kind of want to keep doing this. So I transitioned. I started going to college, and then a whole bunch of other crap happened, and I was like, I'm going back in.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, like, I finally just looked at myself. I was like, I got to make a clean cut here, dude, because. It's always gonna draw you back in, man. It's like the sirens with in the Iliad that's dragging you to the cliffs.
Exactly, and it's never like what it was. And I always tell guys that like especially as a combat veteran, this kind of goes into that category. It's like it's never gonna be as good as it was, even though it was really shitty.
Yeah,
like, I've learned that, kind of knew that like especially in the Marine Corps. I did three deployments, excelled each one. Went to Scout Sniper Platoon, second one, and then it's like, and then Combat Advisor. I wanted to extend for another one, but and then some guys, well, I'm going to re-enlist and do another deployment. I was like, that deployment, it will never be like the one you thought was amazing.
Yeah.
It's going to fucking suck. You're going to go back to the line. They're going to treat you like shit. You're going to go under a different command. It doesn't matter how many awards you have. They're going to treat you like shit. You're going back to the infantry line, or even other stuff. It's just like, it just never, like you guys had like the cream of the crop days, like when I got there, it was cool, but it started getting stupid. I mean, from day one, they're like, yep, no more 1099s, and we're taking a day of pay away from you. Sweet. Now I just lost $2,000 a month in generalities, and now I'm paying taxes. So my 15 or more than that, it would have been like 17 grand a month, drops down to, man, I think it was like 12,000. It's a $5,000 difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get my stuff on the back end, 92.5. You'll get that, but it's like, I did the whatever amount that you get my max amount, and then I'd have to go file the IRS and be like, give me the rest of my money. That was kind of like what guys do. But yeah, it's just never as good as like the first time, And the guys, like you said, that have been there, that your era, that were there 8 years later, they weren't making the fucking 20-some thousand a month. They weren't making, or 20. I don't know what you ended on, but you know what I mean? I mean, $660 a day, I know is, or whatever, that's going upwards of 20-some thousand.
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, the last 2 or 3 months I was there, I was rolling in it, man.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. So it's like,
yeah,
you're not going back to that, and they don't allow it. There's no more bonuses. There's no more
bonuses.
No, they never got a bonus. We never got bonuses. Christmas, holidays, July, for nothing. There's no bonuses for those.
They just, I mean, here's the problem is that we had so many guys when I was there that screwed up because you weren't doing W-2s. That these guys were like, why didn't you take the money out? I didn't understand it. So that's probably why it changed.
It might have,
and
yeah.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Like, you're either going to take the money out at the beginning or they're going to pay it at the end. But then you have all these guys that are pissed off because they thought it was tax-free, or they thought, I mean, really what it comes down to is like, cover your own ass.
Exactly, yeah. Well, it was also 20. My era was like, the war, Iraq was over. Afghan at the time was slowing down, because it was the election. It was 2012 election. So like, are we ending the war in Afghanistan? Was like all over the news. Are we ending it? What's going on? So there was like, everything's drying up. People are starting to scrutinize where the money's going, kind of, So, and it was just a different time. But yeah, anyways, but yeah, it's crazy to, like I said, think about. And it's still going on. I mean, it did create a whole industry though, that you're like, not just protection, but in general, like shed light on defense industry and contracts and how things work.
Oh, 100%.
And like, nowadays, especially nowadays, it's like things are really in the open, of like, well, if I want to get into this industry, I can do this or that, or whatever, even like protection, or, we were talking about too with, nonprofits and NGOs and all that kind of stuff. But no, yeah. So you guys you're there. I mean, you probably obviously you wrote a book, so you got a million stories that stick out. I guess kind of the stuff like we talk about, it's fun. The book is awesome and it's hilarious, but there is a bit of the, which is all this dark humor with what's going on. I mean, you do write in the book guys that are getting killed, and like Iraq was definitely much different than Afghanistan. We didn't have we did have contractors that were getting killed. They weren't a part of our team, but I know early days Iraq was pretty rough. Like, what was that kind of tone like? And then, I got to the point where the bird was shot down.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond, beyond the hanging at the bridge in Fallujah, which was predated you.
Yeah.
But, the dangers that, what was that for? I know there was that first one. I think it was a car bomb or something that you guys had, or was it the helicopter?
The helicopter was
like the first one.
The first big one.
Yeah.
We had a car bomb up in Mosul, killed a couple of people. But dude, I mean, contractors dying left and right.
Yeah. They weren't a part of Blackwater, but they were like, yeah.
So, I mean, that was the beauty of it, right? You hire these contractors, they die, and then you don't have to say, hey, another soldier died, right? Like a contractor dies and everybody goes, oh, they were over there for the money. It's not that big of a deal. Like you might make the news for a day and a half.
Yeah.
So everybody started outsourcing this stuff, and I mean, a couple of my buddies, it was April '05. They jumped on a bird. They were going to go to Tikrit, and they were going to start up in Tikrit because at the time, Blackwater was starting to take over all the contracts. So you had triple canopy under these DoD contracts. They were flipping a Department of State. Blackwater won a ton of those. So they had them in Al-Hilla. They had them in Tikrit. They had them in Basra. They had them like it was a massive expansion. So these guys were going to go pretty much start a team up in Tikrit, and just right outside of Baghdad, man, they ended up getting hit with a SAM, and absolutely, dude, just like burned in, and it was awful. And I think that was really the first realization, like, this is still war. Like you always knew it was. I think everybody always knew it was, but when it was like, hey, I was talking to that guy 30 minutes ago, like, holy shit. And then just seeing how the State Department looked at us at that point, right? Like, the State Department, you know, they'll say different, but they didn't give a crap. At the end of the day, we were hired guns, and if some of us died, like, yeah, we'll go through the dog and pony show where we have like a little funeral and stuff. But like, dude, it just got extremely real. And there was another dude that got hit on that same day on the way to Ramadi. I talk about it in the book. I read the AAR afterwards, and on their way to Ramadi, they got hit with an EFP, and dude, they don't have any comms with anybody, right? Like, dude, it was just us. That's what we got paid for. It was just us. There's no calling big army. If you weren't in the greater Baghdad area, you couldn't call in the little birds. Even if you could call in the little birds, it's not like they have that much gunpowder, right? So these guys get hit on the way to Ramadi, and they're trying to get a hold of anybody. Can't get radio comms. Pull out the sat phone. Can't get the sat phone comms. Ended up like blowing their vehicle and then driving closer into Ramadi, got hooked in with the Marines that were like underneath the bridge. You know, those troll patrols where they were like, hey, we're going to put you under this bridge and you guys are just going to live here for like 3-4 weeks. They got hooked in with them, ended up getting on the base in Ramadi. One of the guys died. And it's like 7 dudes died in one day. And I can tell you right now, Blackwater had no idea what to do with it either. Like, even say I'm not a big fan of the military, but say what I will about the military, they have a process. The Blackwater guys, man, and I don't want to get into it because I don't want to like scratch scabs, but Blackwater had no idea what to do when they had that many people that died on a single day. And dude, they totally flubbed it. And if I was one of those spouses or a kid or something like that, dude, I would be absolutely livid. But dude, that goes back to the bridge in Fallujah, right? Like, they didn't know what to do with those guys. Like, their family sued the crap out of Blackwater, and they ended up settling with them. So, like, it's difficult because you don't get to come home to a parade and they bury you in Arlington National Cemetery and you're a hero, right? Like, you are the war profiteer. We're gonna throw you in the ground somewhere, and nobody's gonna remember it. And like that I think was a pretty tough realization, at least for me. Yeah. Like I thought maybe there'd be something, right? Like something that was like, hey, this guy did this or that. But no, dude, you'd like get a little blurb in your newspaper and you're donezo.
Was it because they were moving so fast? Like, it felt like, you know, everything was like, so not so touch and go, but like you're kind of writing the book as, you know, or building the plane as you're flying. Like, at that point, I mean, it's still '05, but you know, it's kind of like a thing is like they haven't had this happen before. I mean, at the bridge, but then I think we were talking. You're saying those were like contracted through KBR.
Well, they were Blackwater's. So KBR had the main contract. Blackwater subcontracted, and then those guys ended up dying. You could make an excuse that they were expanding so fast in '05, but at the same time, if you are in the business, literally the business of putting people on the ground in a combat zone, you should have some kind of a plan. I think they got so business focused that the people on the ground, and dude, everybody hates the head shed. Everybody hates the people that are back at home that are making money. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, it just felt like they were so worried about what was going to happen next for expansion that the guys on the ground were just kind of like, they were like, we were an afterthought. They got us there and they were like, cool. And then when something happened, it was like, dude, it was absolutely eye opening for me.
Yeah, yeah. And what was the reaction that you did see, like after those guys were killed?
We got wasted.
Yeah.
No, so we learned pretty quick that if you have a shoot, don't tell anybody. Like, so Eric Prince goes on there and he talks about how we engaged like 45 times or something like that. Dude, it was way higher than that. Like, we just wouldn't tell anybody. I mean, there's videos on YouTube. You don't have to take my word for it.
Yeah.
So after those guys burned in and the guy got killed in Ramadi, like, all bets were off. Like, and I was on the QRF at this point, so we had Humvees, like, we had the windows down, and we ran roughshod over Baghdad. It was like I think this is where it really hit me. Like, I care more about your country becoming stable than you do at this point. And that's not how it's going to go. Because I don't give a shit about Iraq, and I don't give a shit about Baghdad, and we are going to run roughshod over this thing. And we absolutely did. Like, it was, dude, you want to talk about the heyday of Blackwater. Like, it was that period when we had the Humvees and like, dude, nobody knew where we were going, right? So the QRF theoretically is a quick response force, and you hang out, and if something happens. But we became an escort service. Like, not in the sexy way, but like absolutely became an escort service where we'd say, okay, you're going to go drop these guys off at the Ministry of Oil, come back, take those guys to the Ministry of Interior, come back. So we'd run 6, 7, 8 runs a day at any given time. And dude, if you got in our way, we'd move you out.
Yeah.
If you got too close to our convoy, we were gonna, nobody wants to go over there and like shoot somebody. I mean, there were some psychos, don't get me wrong. I think they're everywhere. But it was like, you come up on us too fast, I'm going to shoot out your tire, I'm going to shoot out your grill, I'm going to shoot out your engine. And if I have to engage, I'm going to engage like right for the driver. So, dude, it was like, that little tiny window was really when it was like, dude, we'll do whatever we want, however we want.
It feels like that's the escalation in Iraq, too. I mean, 04, 05, and I got there in beginning of 06, and it was wild. I mean, we didn't even it was pretty rough then, 05. And like, in Blackwater, the reputation was coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
That's, like I said, I got there 06. It wasn't you guys, but it was another contractor firm. And we almost lit them up because they were driving down our main MSR with Iraqis or whatever. I don't think it was you guys. I don't think it was Blackwater because it seemed kind of reckless, but everything back then was pretty reckless. But like, they were in like F-150s. They had PKMs.
Oh, that was like probably Aegis.
Aegis. It might have been Aegis. And they had, face coverings for the Iraqis, like, or maybe they weren't. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we were about 2 blocks into our city or town, whatever you want to call it, in Barwana. And I remember I was sitting watch and I see the convoy and I'm like, oh my God, like, holy crap. And we walked that MSR like every day.
Yeah.
So we were just happened to be 2 blocks in, like taking over a house, overwatching before we moved out. And I remember seeing them like bomb down the road. And we're like, oh my God. And then like my team leader's like, did you see that? I saw it. There's 5 vehicles, blah, blah. And so we call map section, which is down the road. And they're like, you have 5 technicals coming your way. This is it. Get ready. Because it's like, dude, we're Marines. We're here to fucking kill shit. Like, we're dying for a gunfight. We're always like, we're here to, hearts and minds, but come on, let's be honest. Like, we're here to kill people. We're here to kill the bad guys. And so we see that. We're like, this is our time. So we like get revved up. We're like, we got to go start running probably to our map section because this is going to be a giant firefight.
Yeah.
5 technicals with PKMs, and so we get on the horn, tell our guys, they're bombing in, and somehow our guys end up figuring out that it's not insurgents, it's contractors. And so we get a brief, like we come back and we're like, who the fuck was that? What's going on? They're like, they're contractors. And then at the time, if you had in our AO, if you had a weapon on you, you were cleared hot. So if any Iraqi popped out of a house with an Iraqi on them, whether they're pointing the gun at you or not, you were cleared hot to engage. That was our ROE. You're going to bomb down and not tell us that there's 5 F-150s with PKMs on the side. We're gonna light you up.
Yeah.
They didn't call into our unit. They didn't call into like our talk, or whatever.
We couldn't.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Like straight up, we couldn't.
Yeah, and we didn't know that.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, we're gonna kill you then. Which is kind of crazy. Like you said, and I don't know what Baghdad was like. We were, like I said, we were in Al Anbar, but we were, Barwana and Haditha Triad. So our situation was different. But yeah, I remember my squad leader's like, you see that again? You can clear hot on them. Like, you can shoot at them. I don't care if they're contractors or not. We don't know who you are, and we're not going to take the, we're not going to take the risk. Like, we're Marines. I'm going to go home alive. Sorry.
Right.
Like, and then we talk about, it's like, it's the risk you take. You kind of should be, or at least show friendly. If you see a friendly force, throw a flag out or something, because we were like, dude, we almost killed Blackwater. We didn't know they were Blackwater, but, or not Blackwater, but we were like, oh, they're friendlies. But we almost killed a shitload of friendlies. Like, that's insane. I mean, that would probably have made international news. Like, Marines kill contractors, Well,
that's that's kind of the funny part is like, so first off, there was no coordination.
Yeah, exactly.
Zero.
Yeah, zero. Which is shocking that probably didn't happen. Or maybe it did, and we didn't know. Or maybe just by fucking blind luck that never happened.
Well, Blue Force Tracker came in at some point, so you could put the Blue Force trackers in the vehicles, and you could see it in the talk, and be like, okay, those guys are Blue Force. But there was no coordination, and I can't tell you how many military units are like, oh yeah, I remember you guys. I shot at you, and I was like, well, you guys were terrible shots because nobody ever got hit. But I mean, dude, we come screaming up on a convoy. I remember when I first got there, I was coming out of the north gate of the green zone, and I hook a left, and then Haifa Street's right there. It's where all the Iranian guys were, all the terrorists. So you got to hook a left, and then when I start hooking a right, we come right up on this convoy, this military U.S. Army convoy. And I'm trying to get around him. I got a VS-17 panel on the Suburban. Like, they know we're friendlies. So I'm like creeping up behind him, and the guy takes his 240 Bravo and goes, points it right at me, and I was like, no, our armor's not gonna stop that. Like, we're just gonna cruise with these dudes. But dude, it happened all the time. Like, I felt bad for later when I came back. So when I went back as an Army officer, I was at JSS Justice, and we had these contractors come in the gate, and I was like, man, they didn't tell us they were coming. What are they doing? I can't believe they would. And I was like, oh yeah, that was me.
Yeah, that was me.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it got a whole lot better at any given time, but it was just, it was insane how often. And dude, Big Army came and saved our ass. Like we had an old man that was driving our limo, so that where the principal is, the limo.
Yep.
And I can't remember if I was driving. I think I was the TC at the time. And he smashes into the back of the Suburban. The limo's down. We got to start pulling it in. So we get out, put the tow straps on it. We start dragging it in. And Big Army, thank God, was back there on Route Irish. And they were just stopping all the traffic so that we could drag that thing back in. But dude, it was we would always run into each other. And it was just, I don't know. I mean, it's lucky that we didn't have as many contractors as we had. It's kind of lucky that we didn't have contractor on contractor fights, military on contractor fights.
Yeah.
Although there is a book, and they made a movie called "The Men Who Talk to Goats."
Yeah, I never seen it. I know of it.
Yeah, But they talk about it in the early days where you had all these contractors that were coming into Iraq, and they were trying to get these contracts. And I think it was in Fallujah. They were at a gas station, and they ended up having two contractors shoot each other up.
Oh,
because,
really?
Yeah, they were both the enemy as far as the other one was concerned.
Yeah. Well, that was we can talk about this too. I again, we're talking about, if I have it up here, it's License to Kill up here.
Oh yeah, it's up there somewhere.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there, License to Kill.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first books I read about contracting. And then Big Boy Rules. And maybe I'm conflating the two together, but those were the first two books I read on contracting. And there's the stories of Contractors Row in Iraq. I'm only speaking from experience of reading these books, but it was funny because, I was telling you on the car ride over, I was like, dude, I was reading License to Kill, and it definitely is a book about not to do contracting, and I'm sitting there reading this is fucking awesome.
That sounds cool.
This sounds awesome. I'm gonna go make some money.
Yeah.
And it was. There was a Contractors Row, and you guys were, Department of State, working through Blackwater, which is the big banner, obviously. Yeah. Everyone knows Blackwater. And then there was the little contractors that were coming in and out. Did you guys run into them or
100%.
talk to hey, we're doing security, but it's just for this? Because they were talking about contractors that would pop up.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the mission. The infamous one in one of those books was the well, like a water well they were building or something, and it was like infamous for just never being completed, like a $20 million water well. And or they'd take a contract, they'd make like $5 million, and then they'd walk away.
Yeah,
some crazy shit. Like they do security for one thing, and then boom, they're gone. Which, if you're thinking about it, it's probably the best way to go. You know what I mean? We made maybe a few $100 grand, or 120. It would have been better to snatch up a $5 million contract and.
No, they were absolutely fly by night.
Yeah, fly by night guys. Yeah.
That the book War Dogs, there's a book and there's a movie on it, and they're like, oh yeah, we got to get all this ammunition into Iraq, and like, dude, I mean that's just how it was. Like anybody could bid on these. They'd say, okay, now you have the contract, go and do it, and then you have subcontracts.
Yep.
Right, and those are usually through some kind of a Department of Defense, Department of State, and then you have corporations that are in there that are trying to get stuff done. Right, like, oh, okay, well now I got to get security for those guys, and dude, it was just.
Layers.
And you just never knew. You'd have some guy that was like, hey, yeah, I'm going to go catch this contract. It's $1,000 a day. So my buddy Mike, he's like, dude, Morgan. I mean, he got me into Blackwater. Dude, Morgan, I just heard about this contract in Africa. We're running diamonds, $1,200 a day. We're going to run diamonds. They're going to have a helicopter, 5-vehicle convoy. We're going to do this thing. And I was like, no, no. But dude, like, I thought it was a bullshit contract because you hear about that all the time. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to jump to this contract, that contract. The guy that actually had the contract was a British guy, and he died like 6 months ago. And that was his thing. He was like, I run diamonds through Africa.
So it was a real contract.
It was a real contract.
Yeah. $1,200 a day, missed out.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Iraq is crazy, but Africa is.
Yes. Yep.
Which is interesting because that's where all the contracts are popping up right now.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy too. Like I said, those, and I heard about those too. I mean, they're, again, word of mouth. You get into the world, and then I ran into guys that were British dudes that worked for Eric Prince, I think under an Africa contract at one point, where after. I don't want to say controversy, after he got bought out. I think in 2010 is when he officially sold or something. Because I got to Z Services or whatever you want to call them, and I went into the pro shop there in Moyock. And Moyock, North Carolina, is the headquarters of Blackwater. It's where they train. It's where admin building is. I got there in 2010 to do training under Z Services for the CIA static gig, which is protected CIA black sites. That's what we did.
Yeah,
and sounds way cooler than it is, but, I always preface that, because people are like, oh my God. And it's like, it's like I don't know, have you ever seen the Shane Gillis bit? He's the popular comedian or whatever. Yeah. He's like, technically, I served in the military because he was in West Point for 3 weeks and then he quit. He goes, so technically I am a veteran. Technically I worked on SNL. He hired and then got fired. He goes, technically I played D3 football or whatever for West Point. So technically I'm a veteran, D3 football player, or D1, whatever it is, the biggest, and I work for SNL. I am none of those things. Right. That's how I always tell people, yes, it was a CIA, like it's fucking 12 years. It doesn't even exist anymore. Like I actually jumped ship from there because our site got shut down. Anyways, so where was I going with that? Yeah, the Africa contracts and stuff like that. And I think Eric Prince I know you might know better than I do. He jumped and started doing stuff, and I think there was when Africa won at one point that was pretty controversial. I ran into a guy that was like there, and he was like, Eric Prince was involved, and he was like investigated too and everything, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. So, and look, dude,
now we're getting into contractor rumors. Like it's like these are bits and pieces of like conversations I've had over the years.
Well, I've talked to just a ton of people about contracting. As soon as you come out with a book, they're like reporters and stuff, like, oh, I'm trying to figure out, get some background on this, background on that. So I keep my ear pretty close to what's happening. Mm-hmm. Eric Prince is a spectacular businessman. Mm-hmm. And war is business, and business is good. Yep. You know what? At the end of the day, like 100% kudos to you, bro. Mm-hmm. So pretty much Blackwater had to close down. Yeah. They essentially said, Eric Prince, we don't give a crap if it's called Blackwater or if it's called Frog Fart, dude. You're not getting a contract ever again.
And what was your thoughts on that? I mean, like, because he's providing a service that they wanted. And I remember your guys kind of were like, they publicly, they hated Blackwater. Privately, they were very happy with Blackwater.
Yeah, dude, I mean, they needed us.
Yeah, they need exactly. Like, and I kind of agree. I don't want to be in the Guard or a Marine running fucking KBR to the fat cats in the green zone and getting blown up with IEDs. And that's kind of how it kind of started, wasn't it? It was like, I mean, that's another contract, but they were escorting. It's like, I don't want to escort ice cream and get fucking my legs blown off because a lieutenant colonel really likes his vanilla ice cream in Al-Assad Air Base. You know, like, I shouldn't be risking my life. I should be fighting the war. So contractors do fill a void. In my opinion,
they absolutely do.
Yeah. You know, like, we did the job. You know, we knew the risks, but yeah, you know what I mean. But
well, dude, and it's not any different than Walmart hiring a bunch of contractors around Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
you're bringing these people in because there's more demand than there is supply. You pay them. When you're done with them, you can get rid of them.
They're running Route Irish. They're dodging IEDs.
Well, I mean, the theory behind it is that it's a short-term workforce that you don't have to pay for into perpetuity. Yeah. Now, that's not how it actually turned out.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, it went long-term. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But Eric Prince, like, the political side of it changed when Obama got elected. And essentially they were like, dude, Eric, you're out. You're absolutely out. So Eric was like, all right, if this is how it's going to be, like, he's pissed off. He went and started Frontier Services Group.
Yes.
Frontier Services Group is backed by the
CCP.
Yeah. Yep. So, and they have a big Belt and Roads initiative, especially in Africa, because there's a lot of minerals there.
Was he out of Dubai there for a hot minute?
Oh, yeah. He lived in Dubai.
Yeah. Sorry, he lived in Dubai. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he supported, and he says it was all logistics, but he supported the Belts and Roads stuff. And the UN investigated him, and everybody's investigated this guy. And he finally I think he left Frontier Services Group, and now he has Vectis. And Vectis is doing a lot of stuff in South America and in Africa, essentially like trying to chum the waters to say, hey, the U.S., and I don't think that the government's telling him to do it. I think he's saying, look, I see where the U.S. is going. They need these minerals. I know where these minerals are. I want to go over here and make sure that if there's a security apparatus, that they know who they can contact. So, I mean, dude, I don't fault Eric Prince for any of the things that happened with Blackwater. Now, I will say, I think if you put, like, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. I think the guy is so money driven that it doesn't really matter. Like you hear the guy talk about, oh, I had 43 contractors die under my command and all this other stuff. That's not how it felt on the ground. It just absolutely was not how it felt on the ground. It felt like, hey, you guys got paid for what you're doing. You get to go home and in a body bag, and that's just life. And you had the Raven 23 guys, the guys that ended up shooting up
Nisar Square.
Yeah, Nisar Square.
Did you know any of those guys? What year was that?
That was 07.
07. That was after. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, all these dates are
Yeah.
I remember all of that before even I joined, but yeah, that was obviously a huge controversy. And
dude,
it was all over the news. I remember that.
Well, and it didn't matter. So what happened was Blackwater, Iraq essentially said, Blackwater, you got to get out. Yeah. And then Triple Canopy took over the contract, and they walked into the man camp and said, hey, you guys all work for Triple Canopy. Does that sound good? Yeah. It's like Harry Potter, dude. Oh, poof.
Yeah.
Now you guys work for Triple Canopy. All the exact same dudes. Didn't matter. But like it was really just getting Eric Prince out of the whole thing. And dude, I don't blame him for being pissed off. I don't blame him for making money. I do think that his idea of, because he's got a contract in Haiti. He's got a 10-year contract in Haiti.
Oh, the new one now. Yeah. Yep.
So his idea is that you can create an army that is more efficient, more cost effective, and they can be civilians, and you can leave them there longer. And that's what he's trying to do in Haiti. Like, this is his proving ground to prove that he is right about this stuff.
I remember those rumors were going around, and I shouldn't say rumors, but they probably were. It's a bunch of infantry dudes throwing around good idea fairy stuff. I remember in 2012 they were talking about that, and like, look, I guess that's the idealistic part of me. Is like, of course that would work, or you know what I mean. Like, how do you find a solution to this problem? Kind of being the idealistic. Like, how do you fix Haiti? You know what I mean? Like, you actually genuinely want to fix Haiti, but how do you do it? And it's like, no, I'm not speaking for Eric Prince, but like, just in my own idealistic mind, it's like, well, what do you do? What do you truly do? And, it's like, well, U.S. militaries want to get involved. Well, we can do this, but it's going to cost money. And these guys are willing to do it. And it's that weird, Now, even when I was contracting, I wanted to make the money, but I still believed in the mission to a certain extent. You know what I mean?
I got over that after a while.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, eventually you're like, okay, yeah. But it did feel, at least back then, I remember I felt good about, like, the metal detectors, the protection. By the end of the protection, though, you're kind of like, yeah, these people,
they don't care.
They don't care about you. These in fact, they were going over so they could party in Dubai.
Yeah,
that's why they kept going to Afghanistan. Well, they needed a reason why they were going to Dubai. So they're like, oh, we'll pop in Afghanistan for 5 fucking hours and then bug out.
Yeah.
We had John McCain's detail, and it was just like, I remember my medic, and he was just like, yeah, he might die on this helicopter flight, because he was like, I don't remember.
So
he was
old.
80s or maybe late 70s. He was terrible too. Like his heart, they're like, and then we were all like, is John McCain gonna die on us? And on our watch, like, taking a helo to whatever base because he wants to go to Afghanistan. You're like, dude, and back then in 2012, he was, or 2012 to 2013, he was big dog. Him and Hillary Clinton and all this other stuff. So it was like, yeah, I remember, but his detail, I was TC, and I had my driver, and it's, again, different era. We were all extensive combat vets. So a lot of us were fought in Afghanistan like last year, and now we're contractors. And I just remember these people from the East Coast. You could tell the Harvard Yale crowd, and literally one goes, "Oh, I'm going to go up to the Hamptons for our spring break, and I really need to advise. We should really advise Mr. McCain to give Karzai a $20 million grab bag. I think we should do $20 million, and then he'll get back on our side." And I remember, like, I looked over at my driver, and he looked at me, and we're just like, like, first of all, why is this not a puppet government? We're giving you everything.
Yeah.
And part of my, because I believed in the mission in Afghanistan, I was like, just make a puppet government. If Karzai doesn't want to do what we wanted to do, then remove him from power and put someone in to do it. Why do we have to convince him that they're just funneling money? I mean, this is 2012, man.
Yeah.
We're 11 years on. Let's not kid ourselves with the Afghans were doing. The poppy fields, the money, they were like stealing money hand over fist. Like, I don't feel guilty. I was there for, I was like, yeah, okay, I remember seeing all the contractors, with crappy product, just selling the government making millions and walking away. So, but it was frustrating. I, kind of like you, they don't care. Like, these people don't care. They're here to, oh, well, we got to talk to this and that. And I think he was trying to get the U.S. government to buy more Russian hinds, and the U.S. government's like, we're not buying Russian hinds, from like the Eastern Bloc to give to the Afghan. Like, it was a whole thing. But no, I agree. It was like that whole, I don't know. Yeah, it was frustrating, that aspect of it. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to Eric Prince, like, I feel like, I'm not saying he was thrown under the bus, but that's always the vibe.
He was, dude. I mean, to a certain extent, he absolutely was.
Yeah. And everybody knows this business, man. It's crazy. Like, sometimes it is like, because I'm not back into it, and it's kind of, cool talking with you because you're still know guys, and I still kind of know guys in it. But after the Ukraine war, things feel like they've definitely blown back up. And like there's like, now it's like a new wave of not contracting, but kind of contracting.
100%,
like 100%. Yeah. And you're just like, holy shit. But the access to people that and stuff, like, especially the Afghan evac. My wife, at one point, she's like, I was like, I'd never, until the evac, and I've made inroads with a bunch, and not saying I do crazy stuff, but it's like, if I were to needed an extract somewhere, I could probably pull it off now. You know what I mean? Like, I know enough people in a Rolodex.
Not me, dude. They'd be like, you wrote that book. We're not coming to get you, bro.
Yeah. He knows Morgan. He had him on his podcast. Yeah. Fuck that guy. No, yeah. No, yeah, it's, but yeah, I agree. I think, I feel like Eric Prince is at the, I don't say the forefront, but he's seeing what's going to happen or seeing something play out.
I mean, look, dude, Trump got back into office, and Eric Prince is a big conservative, and he's a big donor. And at the end of the day, like, he has the latitude to go and do these things. Now, here's the interesting part, and this is how contracting has changed. Used to be that you worked for an American company or an American department. Mm-hmm. And it was all the way up through the government, right? Mm-hmm. What I've been noticing in Ukraine and Gaza and all these other places is that you're no longer working under the U.S. banner, Right? Gaza was under the Gaza Humanitarian Fund or Foundation.
Oh yeah, it was like that joint thing.
Yeah, which is essentially Israel.
Yeah.
And then you have a contractor that is contracting with Israel, and then you have American citizens that are over there. And what happens when something goes wrong, right? At least with us, even though they didn't really give a crap, they'd get your body home.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in Ukraine and you're an American and you're working for a contracting firm that's working for the Ukrainian Foreign Legion, like, dude, those guys were getting chewed up left and right.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I did a whole documentary but they were more fighting than contracting, I guess you would say. They were part of the fight. Yeah. But my buddy, though, in the early days, because he worked for Aegis or Dine, he got a call up in the first month and was like $10,000 a day.
Yeah.
And I was there. It was wrong of 10 grand was enough.
Yeah.
Like this was not Iraq route Irish. This was Russian Spetsnaz and fucking cruise missiles and tanks and, conventional warfare and blackouts, and they will track your cell phone and shove a rocket up your ass. Like, it was no joke, and guys, he's like, I knew guys did it and they got fucking killed.
Oh yeah.
No. Like, you turn the wrong turn, you're running into a Russian patrol and they're going to light your world up.
Well, and so here's the other problem, like Haiti. Haiti is hiring Eric Prince, and essentially what they're doing is extrajudicial killing. They just are, right? Like, let's call a spade here. These are gang members. They probably need to be blown up. We're putting, an American company is putting explosives on a drone, tracking gang members and blowing it up. Well, they blew up some kids like 3 or 4 months ago. And now you're getting into this really weird legal area where who is going to be the one that actually gets held accountable when you kill those kids? Is it the Haitian government for hiring them? Are they going to say, oh, that's big bad Eric Prince, like they did with Blackwater, right? Nobody blamed the State Department for Nisser Square. It was all Blackwater.
Yeah.
And then what are the legal ramifications around that? Can you actually do that as an American company? And if you're working over there for them, are you culpable? Are you liable? And dude, it is like, it is 2004 all over again. And it's expanding. It's getting bigger. It's getting crazier. What I'm hearing is the big money's going to be in Gaza and the rebuild for security.
I've heard that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know much. That makes sense. Yeah.
But dude, now you have American PMCs, American citizens working for foreign governments. You can't say you're not a mercenary at that point. You can sit there and say, oh, I'm over here out of the kindness of my heart and I'm donating my money to the Children's Hospital, but you're not, bro. You are going over there to make money in a combat role. And then people will say...
Defense, it's in defense?
No, like the Blackwater guys...
It's always the workaround. It's we're there for defense.
It's only defensive operations. They're not offensive. And I was like, when is a convoy not an offensive operation? Like, you're driving down the road with guns. You can't say, well, I'm trying to protect this. Yeah, at the same time you're protecting that, you are, like, offensive.
Yeah.
Nobody would say an MP that is protecting a convoy is not on an offensive operation, right? So like the Blackwater guys, most of them were actually really cool guys. All right. Like, most of them were like, hey, he wrote a book. Like, it's pretty funny. It's pretty good. It is.
Your book's. I mean, that's what the thing is. Like, you were talking to me about people were mad. I was like, I mean, granted, I have two less the last 2 hours. You're like, fuck these guys. But but everything up to whatever. It's like, dude, it's just funny stories. We did stupid shit. It's just funny stories. How you felt. Like, I love reading it because I was like, or listening to it because I was like, yeah, I remember being there. Yeah. In that role in Afghanistan, or how you felt like. This is still real, like, especially we had one of my first contracts. I was fielding metal detectors, and my boss stayed. He was retired military, but he making good money. Obviously it was the height of the 2010, height of all this contracting and stuff, especially in Afghanistan. I saw him 2 years later. He was with another company running Intel. So doing metal detectors once, and then he moved to Intel because that's what he did. And, I met him, was like, hey, how you doing? And he had like lost like 50 pounds too. I was like, hey, looking great, you know? And we were talking, we ran into it at a chow hall, and I was like, hey, how's everything going? I'm with IDS over here, right next to the CIA compound. Doing diplomatic protection. He's like, oh, that's good for you. It's like, how's everything going? He's like, yeah, we just lost like, a bunch of guys the other day. I was like, well, what happened? He's like, oh, that V bid that went off. I was like, yeah. He's like, that was our guys. And and Kabul didn't quite have that as much, but they did every once in a while. And it was always brought you back to reality. Yeah. It's like they were running subs. and we didn't run subs. We changed our SOPs. We ran a limo, but the limo everything was up armored but underneath,
Yeah.
So our main, like our lead vehicle was like a tan, looked kind of like a beat up Toyota Land Cruiser, but it was armored.
Right.
So we kind of blended in a bit more with our vehicles. I mean, but they were running armored black SUV, like Suburbans. You stick out like a sore thumb. They absolutely saw the convoy, blasted it,
Yeah.
And I remember that. I was like, holy shit, man. And I remember it. And he's like, yeah, man, they vaporized everybody. And, I even think there was a Army colonel or something that was in that same thing, It's just like, holy shit. But yeah, but it was like, the book's great. Like I said, the book shouldn't be anybody be mad at it. It's like, dude, it's a fun retelling of your time,
Well, dude, I think I'm the Nickelback of Blackwater, right? Like, like everybody says they hate Nickelback, but if somebody comes up to you and is like, dude, Nickelback's got a pretty good jam going, they're like, yeah, I like Nickelback too.
Yeah.
But there's like a vocal few that are really mad about it. And look, maybe they have different intentions. Most of them are pretty cool guys. Maybe they went over there for patriotism. My whole thing is, I wasn't there as a patriot. Take the money and leave. Like, don't give me a sob story. Don't give me any of this other horse crap. Like, you knew why you were there, or at least I did. Take the money and go. Like nobody wants to hear it. But yeah, there's some that have taken umbrage of me having the book. Here's the other thing, dude. You write a book, and people will literally pick apart every single detail and be like, I don't think you should have put an apostrophe right there. That didn't actually happen that way. I was there. And it was like, dude, it's my story. It's literally how I saw it, how I heard it, how it happened in my brain, how I processed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I am straight up Nickelback, dude, of the Blackwater community. They like love, a lot of them love to hate me. And it really is only like 3 or 4 Karens at the HOA.
Yeah.
Most people are like, hey, I just live here. It's got, I like to reminisce with my buddies on this Facebook group. And then there's like 3 or 4 that come in and just rile everybody up. They're like, oh my God, who's heard of this Morgan Lerette guy? He wrote a book. And it's like, dude, it's been out for a while. Like, keep talking shit. Cause like, honestly, I don't care.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are going to take that part when they work for Blackwater, and dude, it's just like the military, right? Like that is the highlight of what they've done. And dude, it was cool, and it was absolutely a highlight of what I did too. But at the end of the day, like I don't have Blackwater stickers on my car. I mean, I got a book so everybody knows, but like,
you didn't do the paw, man.
Yeah, well, you can't do the paw because they'll sue you.
They
threatened to sue me.
Oh, okay.
Already.
Who's suing because the paw, no one wants the paw, but if you put the paw on something, they sue you. Who's going to sue you? Or whose is it?
So it is still owned by. It's actually owned by a firm, and they own the copyright to the paw. So they put it on bullets, and they put it on guns, and they put it on hats, and they put it on ashtrays, and they put it on. Yeah, so like it's a licensing play.
Got it.
Okay,
so
somebody else makes all the bullets, and then they put Blackwater and the bear paw on it, and they sell it under that, and then Blackwater gets a kickback from it. So they protect the paw.
Dude.
Legally they protect it. And then there's there's the Karens from Austin, Texas, you know who you are, that are like, it is my job to protect the paw, and Morgan is besmirching the good name of Blackwater. And I was like, I don't think I'd besmirched it, guys. I think that happened before me.
Yeah, and like I said, I was telling you, like, it's, and like, by the way, I think it's still like, we always look up to you guys, but it's like, because we were the next generation. But at the end of the day, I mean, everybody just did the job, like, it was cool. It was cool. Like, it was a wild time. We didn't live in the wildest of times, but you guys lived in a wild time, and I knew guys from that era too. Like you said, they worked with us in 2012, 2013, and I have upstairs, I have the beer glass. So I was saying, when we did the training for Z, they just rebranded the name. I don't remember when Eric sold, but basically the pro shop had to start getting rid of all the bear paw. They were, they're like, gotta get rid of it. And it was like one of the last bastions of like, I was like, oh my God. So I rolled in. I bought everything. I have, and by the way, the t-shirts weren't even that good. The
No.
material sucked.
It was
like, it's shitty material. So my dad has like a long sleeve Blackwater shirt. I bought my mom like a pink Blackwater.
Yeah.
My ex-girlfriend's got one. I think I have, and I bought a ton. So I have, I know it's floating around. I have like 1 or 2 Blackwater. One's black, one's green, OD green. And then I bought, I think 1 or 2 beer glasses. And so I have a Blackwater, and I don't even put it in the dishwasher. I make sure because I don't want it to like fade.
When you told me you went to the team shop, I had to look it up, and dude, it's like a legitimate team shop. When I was there, it was literally a glass case that had like knives and other Blackwater trinkets in it.
Yeah.
So when I walked, so you'd walk in from like the trailer where you'd eat. There's like that little picnic area where you'd eat, and then walk into the lodge. And there's the bear over there, and over here was just like this little glass case, and it was like Benchmade knives that had Blackwater stuff on it.
Yeah.
And
So that's the thing is we were completely different eras.
Yeah.
So like when I was there, it was a whole nother building.
I
No
know.
one stayed at the lodge. So 2012, when I went, no one stayed at the lodge. Like that was for like other militaries or something coming in, like people that legitimately paid to go to Blackwater. And they, we went in one time to like see the bear.
Yeah, you got to see the bear.
You got to see it. Yeah, we all like went as a class once, but we weren't there. Anyways, and then they had the classrooms. Again, my memory's hazy. There's the chow hall.
Yeah,
the chow hall, and then we all stayed in. Was it Virginia Beach, or it was close to Virginia Beach? I don't remember, but they had us across the state line, staying at a loft or something like that. I can't remember. And then whatever suites they had blocked off for all of us. It was so crazy because you show up that first day, and it was, again, I was 2012, so everything's much more established. They have the roster, and there's like, like 50 or 60 guys coming through. And, everybody's feeling each other out. You're coming through, and then we all have to gather up and go over, But yeah, it was a different. But that pro shop in 2010, it was its own huge thing. Like they had pistols. You could buy weapons. It was like you could buy weapons that had the bear, and then I believe it had like EOTechs, and then they had a wall full of Oakleys, and they had all the T-shirts. It was a whole fucking thing,
Well,
so.
Eric Prince once, I think
2012, yeah, 10.
He sold Blackwater, and then he worked with a video game designer for the Xbox Connect. So there's a Blackwater video game out there, dude.
Is there really?
Yeah, where you can like run in place and be like, oh, dude, what a jam.
Yeah.
So, dude, I mean, it's gonna make money, right? It is a pretty cool logo.
Yeah. No, it's a great logo, by the way. I mean, it's legendary.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like everyone's got their feelings. I was like, come on, it was pretty fucking cool.
It was pretty rad.
Blackwater was pretty dope. Like, we all made money, did some cool shit. Yeah, how we were on the morality side. But or Eric Prince, I was like, it was good. It was funny. I was talking with somebody. I was like, he knows Eric Prince. I think he knows Eric or whatever. And I was like, well, tell Eric, thank you. For I made good money and had a good time. Yeah, I was like, tell him it was. I made some good paychecks and I had a very good time.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's
it was or that, you know what I mean. That's my feelings on it. But no, it's a crazy world though. I mean, it's a crazy. It's kind of it's like the movies in the 80s, but I feel like it's much more open source now. Like if you have connections or you're like. Everything moves so quickly, and especially, I mean, everything that's going on. Venezuela, you have Iran. Iran is like, as we speak, it's looking pretty wild. Yeah. Like, it looks like they're in everyone's like, oh, they have revolutions, but this looks like this one might stick.
This one probably going to stick.
I think this one's going to stick. Iran, yeah. I just posted some wild Molotov cocktails, and it was a crazy video, like 20 of them. And I was like, oh my God, they are escalating. And it's looking wild, but outside of the purview of PMC work, I guess. But yeah, it's like, everything kind of is going on. And Ukraine blew that door open a little bit just because it's an open war and guys are going back and forth fighting, especially Western dudes. And they're fighting for the cause. Like good buddies that I know, actually a guy I serve with, he's over there right now as a medic. Not as a contractor. They joined the Legion. They're joining the Legion. And
well, dude, the crazy thing is that, so here's what happened is that governments around the world realize that you can put people on the ground without putting boots on the ground. Mm-hmm. So remember, Joe Biden's like, we're going to do this thing in Gaza and we're going to have this this pier and it's all going to work out and there's not going to be any boots on the ground. Yeah, there was contractors.
Yeah.
Like that has replaced boots on the ground.
Yeah.
And the same thing for the Gaza humanitarian aid. Same thing with Ukraine. So Ukraine goes over and starts, they're recruiting a ton of people out of Colombia.
Yes, right? A few. Yeah.
Now Russia is pulling, I know Russia is trying to get people out of Iran.
They pulled people from China.
North
Korea. And that was, that was infamous. Because like I said, I have a lot of people I know fighting on behalf of Ukraine, like all former Marines, you know, and pretty well connected over there. But yeah, it's funny. They're like, yeah, so we got these like North Korean dudes haven't seen porn and they all got addicted to porn.
Yeah.
Like it's all like, it's wild because they just never had internet.
Yeah.
And so now they're like shooting, granted, they're cannon fodder. And they're like, and I know guys on FPVs are like, yeah, we've killed a ton of North Koreans, and now they're not even there anymore. Like they're just getting ate up, you know. So
there's UAE's fighting a proxy war. I think it's against Saudi Arabia, and they're grabbing all these guys from Colombia, telling them that they're going to be protecting oil fields and oil pipelines, and then they're pushing them into Libya, and then pushing them into Sudan, and they're getting chewed up.
No shit.
Yeah. So dude, like PMC, like. I think the U.S. opened up the floodgates, and now everybody's like, I think I can do that. So Venezuela, everybody's like, oh, what jobs are going to come up? Has Eric Prince been over there? Dude, he's going to go get the Colombians. We had Colombians that protected the regional embassy office.
Yeah, so did we. Yeah. We had Colombians were our base security.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I felt bad for them because they were like, but they were making bank.
Yeah.
Compared to what was back home. But I think we were making like, you know, well, technically 15,000 a month. They were making like 1,500 or something like that, but they were happy as a clam, and they were cool. We talked with them all the time, and it was crazy too because we had our camp, and they would guard our camp, and then they would go to their shitty camp, like an even shittier camp, you know, like in Kabul. But they were like, guys knew them and hung out with them. Like one dude married a Colombian girl, so he knew a few of them personally, you know, and we'd go over. Man, they put out when they needed. We had a pretty big firefight in June of 2013, and they were on the wall, you know, and they were getting after it. So good dudes. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. They were pulling Colombians. They were pulling TCNs and all sorts of stuff. You know, Iraq, Jumbo, all the Africans.
Ugandans.
Ugandans. Yeah. Jumbo. Yeah. I remember them in Camp Fallujah in 07. Yeah. But no, I agree. Yeah, it definitely opened up the world to things just move faster, you know. So we're still talking about your Blackwater days. So then what was kind of like, you know, you calling it? Like I said, you did 3 deployments total or 3 rotations total. Like how did that all kind of shake out?
Yeah, I mean, it got called for me to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So when I was on the QRF, I got fired. It was like 4 of us got fired for trying to take our armor off of the Humvee. So dude, we hit it. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. But we hit this car, and it bent the frame of the Humvee. Like, dude, it like rattled my teeth. Our gunner's like he's getting ready to fly out of the turret. I'm grabbing his little hairless legs. He's a Mexican guy. Grabbing his hairless legs, dude. Like it was. I've never been in a collision like that. And those bongo trucks, I think, are made out of kryptonite. Like that's the only explanation. So we had all this up armor that we got from like KBR military people. You just go over there with some Jack Daniels and you're like, hey, you have any up armor? And they'd be like, yes, we do. So we're pulling that off the Humvee. This KBR guy gets all pissed off and it's like, you're stealing all my stuff. So the State Department fires us because that's what you do with contractors. Who cares? And they were like, hold on, let's do an investigation. I don't think that this stuff belongs to KBR. They do a whole investigation. They say, yes, this doesn't belong to KBR. And they said, but you 4 still fired anyway. So, dude, it was almost like a rite of passage to get fired at Blackwater at some point because you didn't really get fired. You just got moved. So they moved me to Kirkuk. I'm up there. I was a team leader for like 3 days until somebody at the State Department was like, hey, who's that Morgan guy that's running the team? Is that the same Morgan guy we fired? And they're like, no, there's lots of dudes named Morgan that work for Blackwater. So they were like, you can't run the team anymore. Gave it to a guy, Mikey. And dude, I mean, it was like every night was volleyball. Yeah. Every night was drinking beers if you wanted to. It was like the easiest gig. And then they said, hey, if you extend, we'll go from $500 a day to $600 a day. And then your bonus will do the same thing. So that's where I was making, $660 and then $34 to be a team leader for 3 days. And I pretty much had stopped drinking. And on my last night, dude, they were like, Morgan, come on, it's a going away party. And I went, and dude, the first time I've ever blacked out in my life. Like, dude, which is the weirdest thing. Like, having somebody tell you that your body was on autopilot and you were functioning, but your brain wasn't working, like, scariest thing ever. But I went into the U.S. Embassy and I beat the shit out of the bathroom because the man in the mirror was looking at me serious like.
Yeah.
So they ended up saying, like, I finished my contract. I got to Jordan, and they were like, "You're not really welcome back." And I was like, "That's cool." I wasn't planning on coming back anyway.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's like, you know.
So you finished out that.
Yeah. So I finished the contract. I got my bonus, and then 2-3 months later, it's like, "Hey, Morgan, you want to come back?" Like, they still needed bodies. Nobody like you weren't ever really fired.
Yeah, 2005 into. I mean, I heard guys were just still, "Hey, we need you. Yeah, we need you bad." Yeah.
Oh, dude, Triple Canopy. Like I talked to Triple Canopy. I talked to like I could have gone back, but at some point I was like, dude, I don't really like who I am, right? And this is the thing about contracting is that when you're in the military, you go over with a unit, you come back with a unit. Your paycheck comes back with you. Like at least you're getting paid on the 1st and the 15th. You come back as a contractor, and it's just you. And dude, the suicide rate for contractors is insane. Especially contractors that were in my era. Because, dude, it's just you and your thoughts. And you've been in a combat zone for 18 months, 24 months, 3 years, 8 years, whatever the hell it is, man. And it's so hard to assimilate back. So, I pretty much was like, dude, I either need to, like, go back and keep doing this until I make $1 million and leave, or I just need to be done with it. So I joined the Army ROTC. While I was going to college, I wanted to fly helicopters. They're pretty cool. Helicopters are pretty cool. And then once I signed my contract, they were like, okay, helicopter, that's a 1.5 year training and a 6-year contract. After that, it'd be 7.5 years. And I was like, fuck that. I knew I wasn't going to like the Army. So
active duty?
Yeah, active duty. So I was like, dude, I'll just go Intel. And because I used my GI Bill and something else, I had a 3-year contract instead of a 4-year. So I ended up joining the Army, went back to Iraq in 9 and 10, back to the same place where, dude, I was literally driving up there with Blackwater. It's where they had all the HVIs. So when I was up there in the military, Tariq Aziz, that guy with like the little mustache, he was one of the prisoners. I got to see him. He was like sitting there combing his mustache. I was like, dude, like am I in a bizarro world? Like this guy's literally combing his mustache. Yeah. Like how cool is this? So got done with that, went to Tufts University to get my graduate degree. And then, like it was just at that point, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's like you age out of the game at some point if you get out of it.
Yeah.
And there's just no way that the people that would go over there with wives and kids, I was like, dude, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Like you have so much at home. Like, how are you just saying like, I'm gonna bounce out for the next 6 months, honey. Batten down the hatches, I'll be back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. So
no, I agree. And it was a young man's game. And to me, it's a young man's game.
Yeah.
Like it should be, in my opinion. You get off your first enlistment, you'd be like, you want to be a Blackwater contractor? You want to be, because it's, I wasn't married. I didn't have kids or anything, and it was perfect for guys like us.
Yeah.
I was like, well, yeah, you can pay me $15,000 a day, $15,000 a month, and we get to do what we want and carry a gun and feel cool and be a part of the mission. Feel like you're part of the mission, kind of, et cetera. But yeah, it's like we had talked before. It's I remember even we were just dating my wife and I, and it was like I just can't do it. Like go back. Like it's just that was just my career. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I gotta like do my life now, and buddies that did stick around for a while, it's not like they were married though. Like I knew that walked away successfully, and then they got married, and they're like, okay, I'm on my last trip. Yeah. And then they're okay. I'm gonna call it and have kids, So, but yeah, it's tough when you're. Yeah, like I said, I knew guys that were married in the Marine Corps, and then they start contracting, and then they got divorced. It was like, yeah, man, because you. Contracting, like you're always gone. The money's good, but now you're paying alimony. Yeah.
and you owe the IRS $350,000.
Yeah, or it's just like your kids hate you. I mean, I guess that's kind of the thing too. Is there's always a trade-off. I talk with tier 1 dudes. I talk with guys that are SF, or just 20-year Marines or contractors. Dude, it's like, how much are you willing to sacrifice,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Like, how many guys that were there in 2012, they were stuck there that had been there for a long time, or they had to jump ship. Dude, and that was the thing. Triple Canopy lost the contract in Iraq because Iraq shut down. So they all jumped to quote unquote Blackwater,
right.
IDS. And it just funneled. And like, dude, it bottlenecked. And everyone was trying to get on. They were desperately trying to get on. Oh, man, I'm waiting 6 months so I can get in the rotation,
Yeah.
And that was it. They were basically fighting over 10 slots. Or, there's more than 10 slots. But, it's like 100 people fighting over 10 slots.
Yeah. No, it's like a basketball game. 5 guys fighting 5 other guys over one hole.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was. And guys were just waiting. And I knew guys that waited 6 months, and it was just, I got lucky because I was a DDM. Otherwise, I would have never done it. They're like, the only reason you got the slot to go train and then get over is because we need DDMs per Department of State contract. And I was a sniper.
Oh, here's good advice number 3. Bing. If you want to be a contractor, you want to be in the game, become a medic.
Yes, yeah.
They can never get enough medics, and they can never keep them on the ground. Mm-hmm. So, like, I've never talked to anybody that was a medic that was like, oh, I couldn't jump a gig tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So if you're 18 Delta, if you got like medical training, man, they'll pull you literally.
Yeah. There was one of our medics was he was a Marine sniper, but then he got all his medic work or got his training as an EMT.
Yeah, EMT.
Yeah. He ended up doing a bunch, and then he came back as a medic. So he wasn't formally medic trained. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they get weird about that. They're like, oh, you're EMT, but you're not. Well, 68 whiskey or something like that.
So you have EMT basic, and then there's an 18-month course to be like firefighters have to do it, like to be an actual EMT. It's EMTI, EMT intermediary. They'll pull you every day, dude.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if they want to get weird about it, just there's another contracting company right down the street.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that was always good. But dude, even the guy like sniper and medic were like back in my era was like, that was your golden ticket. Because I knew SF dudes that could not get on contract because they were not snipers or medics, And it was like, dude, you're special forces. They're like, yeah, but don't mean shit on the Department of State contract or SEAL or whoever. It's just, do you have this qualification or not?
Well, and you have more supply than demand, right? Like when I got in 04, you had all these guys that there were some old dudes. They were like old Rangers from literally like the 80s, and they had gotten out. But dude, they had more demand than they had supply. So of course you're going to start pulling people. Now you got all these guys that did the GWAT, and dude, you got a lot of people out there, and it's not hard to fill contracts. So you have to do something to kind of differentiate yourself. Now here's my one bitch about contracting. Somebody's going to do the job. We have changed the paradigm now where we don't want to put boots on the ground and we put contractors on there, and these contractors, like, dude, you get all the same crap as like a regular deployment, right? You get PTSD, you get attacked, you get like all the anxiety, the frustration, and then when you come back, and it is exceptionally difficult to transition. And everybody hears about it with veterans and totally understand it. But if we're going to have the lead foot be contractors, then we need to come up with some kind of way to be able to say, okay, this is your support system when you get back. And maybe that's on the company. Maybe that's on, like Eric Prince talks about, the contractors that died. But I can tell you that we've had way more people commit suicide since then. And I think that if you're making money off of contractors, then there's should be some kind of a support system when you come back. And I don't know what that looks like. And I'm not trying to say, woe is me. There is one thing called the Defense Base Act.
Yep.
Goes back to like World War II. The Merchant Marines were just getting chewed up. So Congress passed the Defense Base Act. It's essentially it's through the Department of Labor, and it's a workers' comp claim. So there is some compensation, like you can go through it. You can get your medical stuff paid for. Usually they just pay you out. And if anybody's listening to this, absolutely reach out to me, because I'll get you hooked up with the people that hooked me up. I don't make any money on it. I just, it's kind of my way to give back. So there is that, but I can't tell you how many people I was like, why this dude? Like, why'd this guy take the final out? And I think it's just, dude, it's just hard. These guys can't come back and make that clean break and say, now this is the next step of my life, right? So I would encourage anybody that contracted, and it doesn't matter if you were a gunslinger, if you were the guy that was like driving trucks or something, like the Defense Base Act is out there, and there are people that can actually help you through it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And I think that's tough too, because it's under that same guise as it is mostly veterans as well. But I mean, yeah, man, you're out there getting shot at or doing a high risk, job. I mean, it's still tense. It's still, guys are still walking away with PTSD from it. And like I tell people this is my last rotation in Afghanistan. They hit. It was multiple suicide vest bombers, and they posed as special forces right outside our gate. And then next to us was the CIA compound. They were gunning for the CIA compound, but our guys that were Northern Alliance dudes were manning the gate. Well, we always yelled at them, and so we're like, "Hey, fucking open the gate, blah blah. Here's your whatever," and they would open it reluctantly. The Al Qaeda or whoever did the same thing. They put on like white makeup and they dressed as if they were SF.
Yeah.
And they did the same thing we did. And they like put their IDs, and so they let the first vehicle in. Northern Alliance guys were like, that's weird. Like these aren't. So they stopped the second vehicle. Then they opened up on them. Big firefight ensued. Everybody, it's like 6 a.m. in the morning. So I get woken up. Machine guns are going everywhere. And they're, I see the gate they're exploding, and you see the gate moving, and then like the body parts start coming down, like, and I just remember seeing, we're running up to, we were snipers, but my team Hammer A went up to like a different position, up on the roof. And then after that, we couldn't see it, but dude, they were ripping that 240 down that street for like, they held the whole belt. It was a 200 rounds or 100 rounds because they were right on top and just going. It was nuts. In fact, I think Adam Federley got some, contractor award because he went right to that. His position was for a QRF or a base attack.
Yeah.
Was like right there. So he like went up into the tower, and it's like 10 feet down. It's like just duking it out.
he got a nice certificate of appreciation.
It was, I think it was, I think it's what he got. And but I agree though. I mean, you're still dealing with that type of stuff, and guys committing suicide. It makes sense because of you have the military side, but those guys then go over to. I mean, you're doing the same thing. You just don't have the support. I mean, you really are. You're doing the same. You're doing high risk job, getting shot at, doing granted, you get paid more money, but there's no support system on the back end.
Dude, I mean, just coming home. I remember I got home in like it was early '06, and dude, it was just like the loneliest I've ever been, right? Because it's just me and my dog, pretty much. And it was like, what in the flying hell, And I think that's what drags most people back, I mean, a lot of them blow money and they got to go back anyway, but yeah, dude, like I was just like, all my dudes are over there. I feel like I live over there. That's my home. Like, what the hell am I doing? And if I didn't have that dog, I would have went back because I was like, what's going to happen to this dog? As stupid as that sounds, it was literally like a Labrador named Shelby that kept me in the United States. And then I went through the ROTC and everything else. So.
Yeah. So you went active duty then, ROTC then after?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of like figured, It's wild that you did that and then you went back in 9 and 10.
Oh, man. And I can't even tell you how, like, I had to
especially as an officer. I mean, that's a kind of a pipeline too. You got to OCS and then, into your intel school and then be like, all right, you go back to Iraq.
Yeah. So I got to my first unit and I had my Mitch helmet all set up. Like the way I like it. Because you know how they stand up on your head like Super Mario Brothers? I hate that.
Yeah.
So I took the top hat out, I put it in the front, and I had it to where it was like coming down, and I went out to, I think I was getting my battalion commander was briefing me, come back in, and somebody messed with my helmet. And I didn't have a combat patch or anything, right? So nobody knew that I was prior enlisted.
Yeah.
And I walked in there and I looked at my helmet and was like, who fucked with my helmet?
Yeah.
And like this E7's like, oh, sir, we got you squared away. So in first class, squared you away. And I was like, if you touch my shit again, I'm going to lose it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea. Like, you were missing some pads. I was like, yeah, no shit. I threw those in the garbage. Like, I like my helmet. And they were like, oh, this guy's a little different than, like, the LTs that have been coming through.
Yeah. He's not the West Pointers or whatever. Or, straight out the gate. Yeah. I mean, I even looked at that route, OCS in the Guard, But at the end of the day, it's still, I did 8 years in the Guard, and it was very chill. over at division headquarters as the battle NCO, most of the time.
Here's the thing that drives me up the wall is like, as an enlisted guy, it was like, go figure it out. Go, like, don't worry, just go figure it out. And as an officer, like, other officers help you out.
Yeah.
Like there is some of the go figure it out stuff, but for the most part, like, most officers are like, hey, I'm gonna help. So when I got into the Army, one of the other officers that came in, he went to Notre Dame, and like, very smart guy. And dude, I didn't know, aside from Harvard, I didn't know there was fancy schools. I thought it was like Harvard or you just went to a state school, whatever. They're all the same. But he was the guy that was like, what are you doing when you get out? You should do this. Like, you can go to these schools. You could. So I ended up getting into Tufts, U Chicago, like some of these really big, prestigious schools, and going there. But dude, I mean, I had to eat a lot of crow and sit there and be like, dude, I don't know anything about this. Same thing with finances. Like, as a PMC, I literally put in money into an IRA, not knowing what the hell it was. But this guy was pretty smart. He was Asian, so that helps. Yeah. And now my IRA looks pretty dang good 20 years later. So, yeah, I mean, that was a hard transition, man. Going back into the military, like there was like a little piece of me that died every day. And I made captain, and the second I made captain, I had already maxed out on years because I had all prior enlisted stuff, and I was like, I'm still not making very much money. This sucks.
Yeah. Were you 03E enlisted? Yeah. Okay. So you're making okay money. It's not like it's better than
yeah.
I know
it was better than 01, 02, 03, but
because I was looking at all that pay scale, So you did active duty 8 years then, or how long were you active duty for?
I mean, it's with the Guard getting activated, it was like 2 years after September 11th, and then I was active for like another 6 months, and then I did the Blackwater gig, and then I did 3.5 years active. So I don't know, somewhere like 5-6 years active total.
Okay, total. Okay, yeah. You're the reserves though.
Yeah,
and then for the officer part, but you're.
No, I was active. As an
active.
Officer.
Okay.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah.
Okay.
Fort Lewis, beautiful place.
Yeah, dude.
I love
kind
it.
of shit on Washington State. I was like, it's awesome.
No.
Like, I was very happy when I went there. I was like, it's a pretty sweet place. Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, I
say Fort Lewis. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I did 2 years of reserve time while I was in graduate school because it was like, dude, I mean, for one weekend they paid me $800, which is insane.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't really want to take on any student debt. And dude, the post 9/11 GI Bill is spectacular. If you haven't used that, you absolutely should.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
People definitely use it, and and I was hoping there would be like an extension on it or something. I mean, you would have been the same generation too. I paid
my $1,200.
Yeah, I got the kicker. Do you remember there was a kicker that went up to $60,000?
I didn't get the kicker. Okay. But yes, I remember it.
Yeah, there was a kicker. So I remember going to IPAC, which was our admin stuff, and I was like, I want the kicker to get me $60,000 a year, because you didn't join back before the post 9/11. You didn't join for the college money. I mean, people did, but when you're like, this like really sucks, then you found out they hadn't changed it since 1949. Or whatever. I think it's 1949 or something like that. Yeah, or 45. Whatever that when they made it, it hadn't changed.
So, dude, it sucked.
So it was like from 1940, 40,000 to 2005, 40,000. Like,
yeah,
I remember being like looking at film schools before I went into the Marines. It was like, dude, it's $40,000 a year. Like, so I get 1 year paid for, and all this other stuff. And then they came out with post 9/11. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Dude, so the GI Bill I used before September 11th paid like $700 and something a month. You paid your own tuition. They'd pay you $700 a month for the 3.5 months that you were in school. And then the break, you got paid nothing. And because it was a National Guard GI Bill. But then I ended up, once you get on active duty and some of the other stuff, like it changes your GI Bill. But yeah, dude, I started on that old crappy one. And when the post 9/11 one came in, and they were essentially like, dude, my tuition was $45,000 a year.
Yeah.
And then the housing and all the other stuff, I was like, holy crap. And post 9/11, they were like, we'll pay for all this.
Pay for all of it.
I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, because they do the like 80,000 a year or 36 months, but most of the time they just go, oh, that's 36 months. So you could have like a $200,000 bill, and they're like, oh, that's under 36 months. Because typically, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, my stuff would never reach that point, but it was like, dude, they paid. Oh, it was awesome. And then they pay you the BAH.
Yeah.
So I was making $1,600 a month just to live. And then they were covering books. And they wouldn't even like pay the school for books. They would just, because they paid the school for the tuition, but they're like, here's an extra $400 at the beginning of the semester. Buy what books you need. It's like, oh, awesome, more beer money, or whatever.
No, dude, I was like, all these kids were taking out like $120,000 to $150,000 in student loans, and they're like, how are you paying for this? And I was like, the GI Bill, and this guy's like, must be nice. And I was like, all right, bro. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick here, but like,
must be nice.
Let's tone that down a little. Which is funny because so when I worked for Blackwater, the State Department guys, we had a guy. He's in the book, but he got his undergrad from Tufts University, which is very snooty. Mm-hmm. So the State Department guy's like, where'd you go to college? Where'd you go to college? And dude, the Blackwater guys I worked with, the former special operations guys for sure, some of the smartest dudes I've ever met. Mm-hmm. They're not book smart, but they are like absolutely intelligent people. Just not well educated, right? Mm-hmm. They got out of high school and were like, dude, I'd rather go have some adventure than go to Harvard, right? Mm-hmm. So we're sitting around and this State Department guy's like, where'd you go to college? And I was like, Coconino Community. What do you think of that? And then he's like, what about you? And my buddy's like, Tufts. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what are you doing that job for? It like, dude, he was just like talking down to him. Like he was like better than him. Like, you went to Tufts. Why would you be doing this job? And I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. They're like having this little girls' tiff between like where they went to school. I don't even know what a Tufts is.
Yeah, I know. You in the book too. I was like, what the fuck is Tufts? Yeah. Like I was listening to an audiobook. I was like, what is Tufts? Like, I mean, I know this is going to get answered, but what is Tufts? Yeah. I was with you as well. I was like, what is this? Yeah. And it's crazy. I mean, like especially getting older. And find out guys that have gone to like the Harvard or the MBA, because they have the veterans programs, and there's just a lot of opportunity. I don't think a lot of vets knew, at least, in our era and now continued on era as well. But, it's like, oh man, like I look back and I don't regret anything, but it was like, man, I could have done more with my GI Bill, even though I was I had a bachelor's degree already. And then I went to film school for 2 years. And that was kind of like my college experience was like those 2 years. And it was amazing. It was awesome. But I was like, man, if I would have known about like, cause because as long as you're in that time frame, it all counts. Yeah. I was like, I could have got my pilot's license. I could have learned to fly helicopters because it would have been the same amount of time, or whatever. I'm going to school from September to December. Yeah. Okay. Well, I could go and got my pilot's license from September to December and like got all my hours paid for. It's like stuff like that, like, oh, this does count, or this counts, or like I could have, say I'm going to gone to the Harvard, but you could go to Harvard. There's an opportunity to possibly do the Harvard MBA program. I know. For business school. Because they have, it's just like everything else. There's like a vet slot, and they want vets to come through, and then like Harvard supports that. So it's kind of like crazy. Like there's a lot of opportunities out there. I don't know if guys.
Dude, like I said, aside from Harvard, I didn't know that there were fancy schools out there, but. Every college has an ROTC. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you can get into that college, you can go to the ROTC and they pay for it. Mm-hmm. Like, and look, I'm not advocating everybody just like at 42 years old to go and join the ROTC by any stretch of the imagination. But like, I wish I had known that because I joined the ROTC up at NAU and I just thought like, oh, this is where they make officers. And I got it and I was like, this is how they make officers? This is a joke. Yeah. Like, dude, it really is a joke. Mm-hmm. But then they were like, and if you're on scholarship, we'll pay for all your tuition and we'll pay like a stipend and we'll pay. And I was like, holy crap. And then I went to Tufts and I'm seeing these guys walk around with their little ROTC rank on. And I was like, man, those guys are like, you're looking at $180,000 in tuition that somebody's paying for you. And you don't have to give any more time than the guy that goes to NAU. Mm-hmm. So, dude, I mean, I think at the end of the day, the Defense Base Act, the GI Bill, all that stuff, like, yes, it takes some research. And, dude, anybody will help you that's actually done it. So just reach out. Yeah. But, dude, there's so much stuff out there just to take advantage of. Yeah. Dude, I literally went from the guy that was eating government cheese as a kid to being a pretty successful human. So if I can do it, I'll be honest, like anybody can. Yeah. It's not that hard.
So what did you end up going there? Because you went to Tufts, you said, right?
I went to the Tufts.
Tufts. Now, where's that out of? Prestigious school. Where's that out of?
Boston.
Boston? Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. And so then, like, what did you study and what did you.
So I studied, dude, I went over there for security studies and I was like, I'm going to go work for the CIA. And I had some buddies at the CIA and like every time I talked to them, it just sounded like the military. I'm like, dude, I'm spending more time doing paperwork and all this other stuff than actually going. And then I talked to like, they'd be like, and then I have to go do a pump in Kabul for 6 months. And I was like, dude, I just got out of that life. Like, I don't want it.
It's not paying as much either,
Yeah.
I imagine. Or, you know, it's, yeah.
Yeah. But it's still cool.
It's still cool.
Let's do something cool. And then I took some good advice from a guy, and he said, if you're going to go into business, then you need to have a business degree. So I switched over, did international banking and finance.
Nice.
Yeah. And it sucked.
Oh.
Look, like I'm not going to lie. Like, there's a reason why most people don't do it. It sucks.
Yeah.
Like, it is rough. All the accounting, all the finance, all that other stuff. But when I was getting ready to graduate, like, it was fairly easy for me to go to a lot of these companies and say, hey, I have this. This is my degree. This is my background, my leadership. What do you guys got? And it was probably the best thing for me is just taking that dude, it was like probably 2 sentences. The guy probably doesn't even remember saying it. But it's all it took. And I was like, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Get a business degree if you want to go into business.
Yeah.
Jammed out.
Nice.
So
you got an international business degree or
international banking and finance.
Yeah, from Tufts University.
From Tufts University.
So how did that pan out then for you?
I mean, dude, it opened a lot of doors.
Yeah.
Like, in your degree is going to get you your first job, and your first job is going to get you your second job, right? Like, you can't just sit there and say, "Oh, I was at Harvard," and it's going to open up all these doors for the next 20 years. It does open up a lot of, people in the network that you can reach out to. Like, once you have that degree. But, I got my first job out of college, hated it. Dude, I can't tell you how many people get out of the military, get out of, like, work in PMCs, hate their first job. Because I don't know if you really know what to expect, but, like, I came in guns a-blazing, was like, I'm ready to lead this thing. And they're like, okay, just slow down. We have an HR department for all that. I wasn't ready for that. So I got the first job, and then I was looking at, they were trying to move me, like, either back to Boston or somewhere else, and I just moved to Arizona, and I was like, no, I like it out here. I like my wife. I got a kid. Like it's time for me to actually settle down. So I ended up getting another job to stay in Arizona, which led to another job, which led to another job, and, like, now it's just,
Yeah.
It's not like I'm sitting here. The best part is every time I talk to a military guy, I say, what do you want to do when you get out? And they're like, I want to work in the office, but I also want to work in the field. And I was like, okay, so that job doesn't exist. Except in the Army.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't freaking exist. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, dude, like, I'm an office guy.
Yeah.
I wake up, I run my dogs. I ran my kids like a 5K yesterday. We did a 5K. Just, I mean, I don't know if you're tired of hearing about it. I wouldn't say I'm tired of it, but the whole purpose thing, like, as a veteran, go find your purpose. Dude, my purpose is to, like, keep a roof over my kid's head and to make enough money. Yeah. And, dude, the money that I make is so that I can go and do stuff and I can enjoy them and I can enjoy. So I think that that's a hard thing for people when they transition to, whether it's PMC or military, like, well, what's my purpose, right? You go from, I'm an American fighting in the forces, which guard my country and our way of life. I'm prepared to give my life in their defense, to, hey, I really want to be able to sell some tacos. Yeah. Right? Like that is difficult, but at the same time, suck it up and go find something to do.
Yeah. No, I agree. I do agree with that, because it's like, because the military gives you purpose. There's something to do. There's a mission to, even small, big, or whatever. And I feel like people just get lost. The guys get lost, in it, especially when they get out. Contracting was a big, like I've talked about before, was a big transition for me. It was more of a transition. It was like, get to do cool stuff, make money, but this is not, like, this is helping you get, it's a stepping stone, get to where you want to go. And I agree, man. Like the purpose on stuff, like, I think that's more than just veterans. I feel like everyone needs a purpose because of social media. What are you doing? What cool, amazing things are you doing today? It's that, like, projection thing. It's like, dude, I've worked in this industry. I know a lot of people behind those 100,000 social media followers, and it's not good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, again, this is all, I don't know, maybe on the cultural topic, but it's like, your purpose can be your family and just provide for them. Yeah. That was actually really good 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, that was survival.
And it's, like, actually really cool.
Yeah. It's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with just having a good job, doing fun stuff with your kids, and then, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like probably people think that they have to do amazing feats. Like every person in the world has to do some crazy, amazing feat, or it's like because they look at social media like, well, this person did this, or this, it's like, no, dude, like it's cool, man. Like you don't like, it's all right. Like go home. Like again, we've been in the field of people. I know a lot of people that have done some amazing stuff.
Yeah,
I know all guys, special operations, like war heroes, Delta like cool. Some of these guys, their lives are in shambles.
Yeah.
Like, believe me, there's not sunny and rainbows. On the Instagram posts, they're like, oh my God, are you kidding me? You know the backstory behind some of these? Like, some of these social media people, I mean, it's just, or in generalities, I'm like, dude, it sucks.
Yeah.
Life fucking sucks, dude. You're broken. You're divorced 2-3 times. Like, your kids don't know who you are. Like... You know what I mean? Like
that ever heard that phrase that for every supermodel out there, there's a guy that's tired of fucking her.
Yes. Yep. Or sick of her shit. That was always like, yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Who is it? Like, I don't know. Who was the British guy that cheated on his smoking hot wife with like a transvestite? It was like 15 years ago.
Oh,
he played the Oompa Loompa in Wonka. Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but you're like, dude, that you would do that? Like, holy cow. And dude, like I talk to people, they've read the book and they're like, dude, you have like such a cool life story. And I'm like, oh, and then I was talking to this one guy and his entire job is to go talk to these sports stars and they sign jerseys. And then he takes those jerseys and like, when you go into an Applebee's and you can like bid on jerseys and
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
That's his whole job. He just hobnobs with these guys and he's like, like the first few times it's kind of cool. And then after that. So dude, I think the point is that it doesn't matter what you do. You're going to get tired of it. Mm-hmm. You can't have your purpose like be something where it's like, oh, that looks cool because dude, it gets old, man.
Yeah.
Like I can't be in a job for more than like 6 to 8 months before I'm like, okay, I pretty much get how this is done. Like what's next?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think the guys in the military is like, what's next? It's like maybe find a career field that is what is next. I do filmmaking. So it's like every project's different, man. And I've always wanted to do that since I was a kid. So luckily I found that, but like, I kind of see how that, guy like vets do. A buddy of mine works in the film industry and he was Air Force, Sec 4 as well. And, he's like, yeah, dude, vets do great in the film industry because it's very like regimented. This is your job, but every project's new.
Yeah.
Now you're on a set with Glenn Powell. Now you're on a set with Will Smith. Make sure the lights work. That's a great looking shot. I've worked with gaffers and they're phenomenal. Now it's film industry or whatever. It's actually not doing so well right now. But like he was talking about how vets transition very well because you have purpose, you got a good job, but your purpose is make sure that light works, but you're on different projects like every month. So it's like new to you. But yeah, I agree. It's like, wife, like, so we went out last night. It's just like, dude, there's nothing wrong with just having a family and kids. Like, like you are your kid's life. Like, we talk about that, like their routine. Your parents, like, dude, that like, that's your purpose sometimes. Like, just be there with your kid. You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? Like, wake up in the morning, there you are. Like, that's a rock. That's a crazy purpose. You know what I mean? Like, that might not mean anything to you, but to your kid, that's the fucking world. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't, because I feel like some people, in the culture, it's like, oh, you got to do something, or, women in the workforce, we got to do this. And, my wife's done pretty well. She's like, yeah, I think I'm going to be like slowing. I was like, yeah. Like, what do you got to prove? You're not going to be VP. And then and again, she's like, no, I don't want to be. I was like, yeah, you don't want to be VP. Are you a psycho? Or you want to be CEO? You can't telling all these women they want to be CEOs. You know how much of a psycho you have to be be a corporate CEO. I'm already crazy enough trying to like be a film director. You know what I mean? Like, Like you wrote a book. You know how crazy it is to write a book? You know how hard that is? I've been trying to get a book off the ground for like 5 years and I haven't started it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and I feel like everyone's like, yeah, we've got to do this and do that. It's like, you know how crazy that is? I mean, the lifestyle. Do you not want to see your husband? Do you not want to? Do you understand? Like, I have guys that like, hey, their wife's successful. They're divorced now because it's like it's psychotic, and people are backstabbing you all the way to the top. Even in like basic corporate America, you think the CEO of Target just got there because he was a swell dude?
Oh no.
Or Walmart, or like what? No, they're cutthroat. They're on yachts, but they're on yachts working. They work 24/7. And they're incredibly smart, and they're connected, and they're, it's just like, hey, shoot for the stars. That's great, man. You're going to land on the moon. But like, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. I think sometimes it's that like, or do purpose in your life, man. Like, or just don't even like, just set goals for yourself. Like I've been doing that. Just set goals for yourself. You don't need to tell the world. You know, maybe you lost 25 pounds. You run an 8-minute mile, dude. That's awesome. Who cares? You know, the world's gonna, you know, like to you, that's a big deal. And then just, that's cool. Like that, you're staying healthy. I don't know. Like, I feel like everyone, like said that, like, oh, everyone's got to be CEO. No, there's not. Not everyone's going to be CEO. Not everyone's going to be a billionaire. Not everyone's going to be the next Elon Musk. You know?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
Even if you stayed in the military, you would be running into the same thing. Like,
yeah,
that's
100%. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like everybody's got to do their key development stuff, and then they want you to go from like, dude, I looked at captain, and captain is going to be the best that it's ever going to get. Because once you make major, you become like a paperwork pusher, right? Like an XO and all these other like horrible jobs, just for the hope that you become a battalion commander. Yeah. And I was like, dude, that sounds terrible to me. Yeah. You get out of the military, you're looking for your purpose, but maybe people don't realize, like, once you make E8, E9, you're now a politician.
Yeah.
Like, once you make major, you're a politician. And if you want to go up from there, like, you got to play the game. Yeah. So the grass is not greener on either side, to be honest with you. But
unless you work for Blackwater.
Yeah, I mean, I do, like, my dad was never around. So just like watching my kids grow up is kind of cool. I'm like, oh, my dad never saw me, you know, have to go take a dump in the woods on a road trip. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I agree. Because I saw that at division headquarters. Like, you know, and that's what I thought about becoming an officer. I went and deployed to Kuwait, you know, 18 and 19, and just to get money for my wedding. You know, I was like, oh, all right, I guess I'll do it. Because I was about to get out. I was like, guards, I'm not here to do what I want. I'm not going to deploy. I'm not going to combat anymore. Wars are over. Like, let's just call it. Like, you know, there's no reason for me to be here. And but I saw that too. I was like, everything after major, because I talked to the intel. Human intel major, and he's like, do you trying to do long haul or what are you trying? I was like, no. He's like, well, then you'll beeline to major, and then you'll end. I was like, sounds good to me. You know, like I was putting in my packet, and COVID hit, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if this is for me. You know, like it just, everything kind of just was like, this is getting stupid. Like this is not what I wanted to do. Yeah, you know, you're kind of forcing something that's not, it's just not there. And but I agree. I saw like everything gets political. And I saw it because I was the staff NCOIC for the PSD team for the generals, so I saw everything, you know, and I was like in there with all the, you know, and it's just like, dude, and you're a captain, so it's like, the majors were like lance corporals, they were like nobody, you know what I mean? They were treating captains like little baby, like who are you, you know? And it's like colonels, lieutenant colonel, it's like a million of them, and you're just like, but they're all jockeying for that next spot, you know?
But I've seen a general that was going into the bathroom and he popped his body armor off and threw it at a colonel and was like, hold this while I take a leak.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it doesn't even matter. If you get close enough to the top, you're still gonna like have to eat crap. Like that's so I mean, corporate America is the same way. Like I could probably move up if I wanted to. So my first job out of grad school was like a leadership development, like trying to get you to that VP level type gig. I didn't want it, man, because those guys travel all the time, and I don't want to be gone 3 weeks out of the month. You know, like that's not worth it to me. Yeah. So I took a pay cut to be able to stay where I wanted to live. Right, like it's the 3 pillars. It's like, where do you live, your job, and your family. Yeah. Right. And if you get 2 of those 3, you're doing pretty good. Yeah. Right. Yeah. If you get all 3, man, you're absolutely set.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And I was Tallil Merritt. He's the CEO of 9line, so he started that 9line Apparel. And they
he keeps trying to get me to invest.
Yeah, he keeps it on the apps. Yeah. They sponsor the podcast, and but yeah, they're great. We met in Ukraine, officially in Ukraine, so we've kind of been buddies after that. And then I did the podcast. But anyways, we were sitting with the Bella Canvas CEO, because Bella Canvas makes all the T-shirts and all that stuff out of California. And that dude lives in Chicago, but guess where? He flies every single week out to California. Yeah. And his kids are going to high school, but he's the CEO of Bella Canvas. And so he gets on a private jet on Monday, and he goes, and he tells his routine, and it's pretty wild. He's like, yep, I put a cold plunge in. It's like you're talking with like a guest on Joe Rogan, but he is wired in. So he's like, yep, I get off the plane, I go take a cold plunge, gets my clock set, I start my day, I do this, yeah, I work out, blah, 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 and the guy's just like, and I get home on Friday.
Yeah.
And he's gone all week. And he, you know, he sees his kids' games once in a while, or he can when he can make it, but it's like, nope, Monday to Friday, he's in LA. You know, which is wild. Like, you're just like, it's crazy. And they're like, we were staying in Beverly Hills. So that was like another, I was like, oh shit, I'm in Beverly Hills. And I was in the Beverly Hills Hilton.
Oh,
I was like, wait a minute. Like, it wasn't until my last night that I was like, wait a minute, I'm in the Beverly Hills Hilton. Like, it didn't click until the last night we were there. But it's just like, dude, that you're going to go for that. That's a whole nother, you know, like, I run my own business, and granted, it's, you know, video, you know, filmmaking or whatever. So
it's spectacular. Yeah, don't talk shit about yourself.
But I'm saying is like, you know, if you are, it's like, it's a lot of work, you know, like, and I tell people, I was like, that's the hardest part for most business owners, is like hiring their sales guy. You know, like, for a long time I was like, I am the sales guy. I have to go find projects. I would get paid. You get your client base, but then it's like, if you start expanding, like, dude, that takes time and effort. And, you know, I mean, like, I was successful at it for some part, other parts is like, oh man, I need to improve this, you know?
Yeah.
You know, but, yeah, now I work for creative director for Vet TV. So, but it's like, yeah, man, it's just, it's go, 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 you know? And I don't know. I feel like sometimes, like, when people say that, like, I don't know, your purpose, like I said, your 3 pillars, like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you got a good job, got your family set, or, you know, everything's going well, and you got a good spot, dude. Yeah,
enjoy it.
Yeah, like, enjoy it. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, we might have that purview because just the shit we've been in. So it's kind of like, I don't know. You don't, I don't say not take it for granted, but I think you just know how bad it can get.
Well, dude, you know? I mean, when I got done with Blackwater, I was hyper competitive, and nothing was ever like gonna be enough. And I, like, finally, when I had kids, I was like, no, this has to be enough.
Yeah.
Like, there's this human that is dependent on me that I actually want to, like, be around.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, my wife, and like there's so much more value in that than me sitting there and being like, oh, I could have ran that a little bit faster, or I could have, like, when I just graduated from Tufts, I ran a 50 miler, right?
Nice,
like, which is miserable. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I was running marathons all the time, and then, dude, I had kids, and it's like, okay, well, half marathons are fine. Like, I don't need to spend the time doing all that stuff, because I'd rather invest it. It's trade-offs, like you said earlier. Like, what's your trade-off?
Yeah.
You want to be Elon Musk, where you're living on people's couches, but you're worth $1 billion? Like, it sounds cool, but at the end of the day, I don't want that crap.
Yeah. Yeah, you got the world breathing down your neck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Starlink, he's like, I mean, like, literally, like, whole country's freedom might rely on your Starlink. You know? And you're like, oh, shit.
No, dude, the best thing ever. So, I bought a Tesla because I hate driving.
Yeah.
And Teslas really drive. Like, dude, it's legit.
I've heard.
Yeah,
I've heard.
So I bought this Tesla, and it was before Elon Musk switched over, and all my conservative friends are like, "Oh, you big hippie!" And I got solar, you know, with a battery.
Yeah,
like, it's good to be self-sufficient.
Yeah, it was before the 2024 election. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you big hippie, oh, liberal. And then he flips over, and everybody's like, dude, how do you like that Tesla?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you like that Tesla solar and the battery? And I was like, you guys are, come on, guys. Yeah. It's the same crap. Who cares?
Yeah, and it's also or now you see all the Teslas with, like, before he went crazy, or so you see all those. I'm like, yeah, because you don't want somebody to come scratch your vehicle or beat it. You know, they had it in Minnesota. They had, like, some official from, like, the government. It was like a county worker, like, went and, like, slashed somebody's tire, or, like, and it was because they have cameras everywhere, and they, like, identify, like, you're a county worker that went up to somebody's Tesla and keyed it because you don't like Elon. Like, you know, this is vandalism. Like, they charged him and everything. It's like, don't go crazy. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I agree. It's like, and we were looking at Teslas back in 2019 because my wife worked at 3M at the time, and we were like 2 miles away. I was like, oh, it'd be cool. Let's get a Tesla. That's when they came out with, like, the Tesla 3.
Yeah.
Or so it was the affordable one. It was like 35 grand or something like that. And we're like, oh, that'd be cool. We could have a Tesla, and then we'll just charge it at home and then save money on gas, but you're only driving 3 miles a day anyways. We'll just use it as a grocery getter, you know, because you still can't her parents were living 2 hours away. So it's like, we still can't quite use it as like a long distance, like, vehicle. But no, I've heard the self-driving on those things are like amazing. Like, people are legit like, I don't drive anymore. Like, it's coming. They're like, it's coming. Like, there's going to be a time when, and I'm calling it now, it will cost more money for you to drive your own vehicle, and eventually they'll take away. Not only say take away, but eventually be like, oh, you want to drive on your own? That's going to cost you an extra $500 a year. Oh, another $1,000. That's the safety of it. Is they're gonna implement a safety aspect, and then people are like, yeah, why would I want to drive? Like, it's gonna be so much easier. I can get so much more done. A little more emails on that 30-40 minute drive to work. You know what I mean? It's coming. Like, it's coming.
But, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm usually just scrolling through the news instead of while it drives me. But
yeah. But but think like saving time. I mean, think about like your phone. How many emails do you answer on your phone?
Yeah.
How much more work do you get done with your phone and your that's insane. You can run a whole business nonstop all the way till 9 p.m. in your bed, and then get up at 6 a.m. Oh, answering emails. Like, it's crazy to think about because, our parents are, you're a little older than me, but like, the 90s.
Yeah.
They got to log in, wait for like, hold on, the emails are loading. No, I got to get back, like, it's crazy. But no, I agree, man. I agree. I think it's one of those things, if you have, let's say, your purpose or your 3 pillars, I think that's a good call, but it gets a bit much. I think everybody's got to do everything. They think they got to be everywhere all the time. Like, I told my wife one weekend, I was like, we need to like our kids are doing just fine because we're kind of like, well, let's take them to the zoo. Let's do this. Let's do that. And one weekend I was like, stop. Yeah. I was like, stop. Can I mow the lawn? Like, you're on me all, Like, the weekend is when we need to get stuff done. Like, we love our kids. They put us in corners growing up. We turned out fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's okay for them to like watch some TV, read a book. They have so many toys. Just put them in front of the toys. Like, we need to like clean. I need to fix stuff. Like, we got to paint. We got to do this. There's like projects that need to get done, that you're on me on all week because I work from home, So, but yeah, no, I agree, man. It's just one of those things, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe it's culture. This is a little bit beyond the contractor or whatever. But I just feel like that sometimes when people are just like, I don't know, you're sold a bag of goods. Like, you can do everything. It's like, no, you can't. But it's okay to be like content with some stuff. It's okay to like, dude, accomplish a few things. And then like, it's cool to have your family, not to be like the trad wife or the
Yeah.
Because they do like, oh, the trad wife trend. There's nothing wrong with like, dude, stay at home mom, like, until you start your career. That's what my mom did. Like, most of our moms did that. It's like, you stayed at home with the kids until they got about 5, and then they went to public school, and then they went on their career, and they had a great career. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing, or like your parents just, I always think of sometimes it's like generationally, like if your parents crawled so you could walk, and maybe you could walk so your kids can run. Think of it sometimes. Maybe you're not going to invent the next SpaceX rocket, but your kid might. So think about that. I don't know.
I mean, your kid might.
But I don't know. Well, maybe my kid's been hitting his head on the ground, so when he gets angry. So I don't know. The Finley might, but yeah, no, man. I think I don't know. That's my opinion on that matter. But no, all right. So we're at 3 hours. I'm starting something new. After this is for the Patreon and Vet TV subscribers. So this is when we get spicy. So we have some good time. So everybody go check out Guns, Girls, and Greed by Mark and Lerette. What can they find you?
You find me on Instagram. I'm Blackwater Dude and the number 1. I think it's hilarious. Like, who is that guy? He's the Blackwater Dude with a 1. So yeah, Instagram. I'm on X. I don't know what else. Oh, I was on TikTok for a while, but I mean, I'm not hard to track down.
Hard to track, yeah. So go check out Morgan. Thanks for coming on. And if you want to listen to the rest of the show, go check out my Patreon and go check out Vet TV.